Hello, everyone, and welcome to D&D with Chrisiousity, our DM-stist with the mostest. I tried to make that rhyme, but it didn't work. Anyway,
I like it.
we are here to do something I've actually never really taken part in before, like a proper session 0. And so yes, I'm going to leave it to our dungeon mistress. Although what we might do before I hand it over to Chrisiousity is quickly run through the new campaign party. So I guess we'll start off with the alumni of the last campaign. Micro, do you want to give a little 2-sentence overview of you and your character?
Oh, okay. Well, my name is Micro. Well, I don't really know what to say. I'm the resident biology nerd, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, that works.
Probably also the resident rules lawyer.
Yes. We get like you and Loki.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So if you needed a ruling,
I try to.
Judge, Judy, and executioner.
I try to not be.
And your character, yeah.
I will be playing Volks, a champion fighter lizard folk that is themed after a healer monster or beaded lizard.
Okay. By the way, if you want to do a big reveal, you can give a pass on your character. I don't want to take anyone's thunder by forcing them to show their hands too soon. So yeah, R&D, you are up next.
All right, I'm Rhetoric and Discourse, R&D. And I will be playing a wizard school dropout named Eldon, who became an artificer instead and is a magician, like a good old-fashioned card tricks and shenanigans magician, because he can't actually do magic.
Right, very good. All right, so next up, our first newbie. Well, not really, but Sib.
Hey, it's me, it's Sib, the former failed oceanographer and archaeology student turned depressed gamer and just resident Englishman. And I'll be playing the winged tiefling monk called Temerity.
Cool. All right, that leaves our next newbie. Is it what we call you? Lace? Either, both?
Either's fine. Fine. The name that's on the thing is going to be Lace, and that is how the police know me. So I think that's the best way of doing it. As you hear from my voice, it is in fact another resident Englishman. I do not have a character as of yet because I'm lazy, but I'm also going to take the time accrued to me to lodge a grievance against Sib Wolf, as you have not been paying your union dues, and as a result, I'm afraid I'm going to have you removed from the Union of Resident Englishmen, or the RULE.
Great.
Paying your union dues are very, very important, people. Please pay them on time. Christy has to pay for her resident American. You know, she works very hard, and I feel that you're letting the side down all the time.
All right, so you can kind of get a sense of the wackiness that we're going to be dealing with, which is lovely. And yeah, I am Christy. I'm the host of this channel, and I this time am going to be playing. Either I think it's going to be. We'll have to see what the party decides to call her. Her name is Vianney, but she's also known as Lucky. She is a halfling acrobat she's not actually in the acrobatic thing. She's kind of part bard, part rogue, which I think when you put those together in a blender and you mix them up, that makes an acrobat. A performing acrobat. So yeah, okay, so with that little just bit of framework, handing it over to the DM.
All right, great. So yes, I'm gonna do something pretty similar and sort of go around and have you guys answer a couple of questions just to get us all a little bit acquainted, since we have new people. All right, so I'd like everybody to tell me their pronouns, and there's going to be 3 questions. All right, what is one thing you love about RPGs? What are you most excited about?
Okay, who's taking notes?
I'll
okay.
repeat them.
Okay.
And what is one strength that you bring as a player? So I will start with R&D.
R&D. Okay. R&D, he, him. Let's see. What is my favorite thing about RPGs is I think that you can be kind of whatever you want. So like the customization is a whole lot of fun. What was the second question? I already forgot.
What are you most excited about?
What am I most excited about? I think playing a caster, because I don't usually play a caster, so that'll be fun, or half caster, but getting to do that kind of stuff. And also my fun secret. I'm very, very excited about my secret. It's pretty neat.
I will discuss the secrets a bit in a minute.
Yes. And then the last one was, what can I bring to the table? Right? Something like that.
Yeah, what's your strength?
What's my strength?
As a player or as a character? As a player.
As a player.
As a player.
As a player, I think my strength mostly comes from the fact that I'm a DM as well, so I kind of know what that side of things are like, so I can kind of be flexible about like what we need in the moment kind of stuff. So I can kind of help read DME things like, oh, we need to be social right now, or we need to be picking a fight right now, or whatever it is.
Well, all right. Christy.
Okay, I'm going to need you to read off the questions again, because I won't.
All right, your pronouns.
Oh, yeah, she, her, but if someone calls me they, them, I am so cool with that. That's fine.
Okay. What is one thing you love about RPGs?
It's changed. The answer has changed over time, but especially like leaving the last campaign, what I thought was the most amazing and special thing was that we had spent so much time together as players and characters that we actually had a chance to walk down memory lane and relive when we went to see Erasmus's parents. And we told him the stories of all the things that we always put, like what the adventures he got in, the scrapes he got in, and we talked, like, made him sound really big. But the fact that we were able to do that through our characters blew my mind. And we were all laughing at jokes that our characters experienced. And that, to me, it's like being in the book, not just reading it. Next question.
What are you most excited about?
In this campaign? I think, honestly, okay, you're going to call me suck up, but I am excited to see what you have in store for us because, the Lyroon was such a long campaign, and I think it was like you haven't done it for a while. And what I saw in Alice in Wonderland and how much creativity you have and the way that you can think about like putting things together. So as much as I'm, like excited to be a halfling or a rogue or an acrobat, what I really want to see is what world you're going to create for us. This is my strength.
Oh,
as a
sorry,
player?
I forgot your strength. Yes.
Yeah. This will be a shorter answer. I think, and no one's ever said this, but I know it's true and we all know it's true. I'm the shepherd. Right? I'm the one who gets the stick out and goes, okay, come on, we need to get going with the adventure. Like, what were we doing? Where were we going? What's the plan?
That is true.
It's better when she's being the shepherd. When she gets the whip out, everybody needs to duck.
So, that's me.
All right. How about you, Sibby?
Yeah, my pronouns, any. I really don't care. I'm one of those privileged twats that just doesn't mind. Because if worst is, I'll laugh. What I'm excited for here is I'm going to get to explore a bit more about Dungeons and Dragons in general, as well as another new world to me. I just like exploring new worlds. So,
how long have you been playing now? Under a year?
Since December 31st.
Oh, not even 6 months.
Not even
You're
6
so
months.
Fresh.
I know.
So
I think the strength is still going to be that newbie naivete.
Aw.
Because I'm still learning new things. I'm still learning the mechanics. I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm going to be able to help other people who've made mistakes too.
Exactly. Girl, I'm still learning the mechanics. I was studying earlier today on how to build an encounter.
Yeah. So, what is something you really love about RPGs?
What do I love about RPGs? It's the stories that can come out. They can go all sorts of different directions. Even when it's a linear campaign, it can go so off the rails before it gets back on. And a good world is rich, and it allows the characters to add to that richness. So RPGs in general, great way to meet people, talk to people, get to know people, even if you don't. So even if you're playing a single player game and get on the forums instead, people are going to have so many different stories to tell.
All right. And what is a strength that you bring as a player?
Apart from the naivety I mentioned before, I can get focused. I can get incredibly focused on something, and I will do it for hours until I get it the way I want it.
All right. Micro.
Oh well, he, him, and what am I? I can't remember. I can remember the question, but not the order they came in.
What is one thing you love about our RPGs?
The collective like storytelling, the fact that there's a set of rules, but also enough freedom to tell a story. Like it's I like that, like the perfect like mesh of freedom and structure.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's rules I can get to nerd out about, and actually like the systematics and like all the system stuff, together with also like just coming up with weird things and then having to figure out how that fits in with the rules. I think that's quite fun.
All right. What are you most excited about?
Getting to explore a new world and a new character. That's very simple. It's because that means getting to do the thing I like about RPGs.
All right. And what is one strength you bring as a player?
Absolute chaos.
That's true. For a rules lawyer.
Yes, I'm a
card.
very chaotic rules lawyer.
Feels familiar already.
No,
I will have it be known that statistically speaking, that is the best kind of rules lawyer.
All right. So, Lace,
Hello.
have you played before?
Yes.
Okay, good. What is one thing you like about RPGs, assuming you do like them and are not just here to torment yourself?
Even people who
really
like them do that.
I really like die rolls. Like I'm a big fan of chance, and I probably have been or I'm going to be reincarnated as a gambling addict. But I really enjoy kind of. You can tell stories around a campfire. You can play craps, but very few places can you do a story that can end very, very disastrously with the luck of a die roll.
All right. What are you most excited about?
Well, I wrote down a very jokey thing, and now that everyone's answered very seriously, I will give two. I'll give like my. I'll do a serious. I'll have to make up a serious answer.
We found our note taker.
Yeah. But what I'm looking forward to very simply is I like role playing and taking part in games with loads and loads of different kinds of people. You know, I've role played with nice people and not so nice people. You guys happen to be of the first, and I liked watching the previous campaign, you know, the corruption of Laroon, and it's just an interesting idea. I just really like it. I just like the idea of that kind of thing. Also, the joke is that I am actually on a sugar rush because I ate 4 giant marshmallows.
Oh wow!
Mhm.
And
Is
I
that
have
real?
3 more marshmallows. Yes, real. I have marshmallows.
Enjoy your
They were
marshmallows.
fake marshmallows.
They're not. No, they're not fake marshmallows.
Well, no, you can't tell with British people
So,
sometimes.
well, yeah, I mean, are they the kind of marshmallows that are made out of marshmallows, the plant,
Oh, that's a good question.
or are they synthetic?
You have to get the packaging now.
Mm.
I'm
don't
not
think
going
they know
downstairs. I'm
I
not
don't
going
think-
downstairs to find out whether or not these are real marshmallows. Okay.
I have a question.
Anyone makes that anymore?
I don't think they do either.
But I do have a very serious question. Given the size of
marshmallows?
yes,
Okay.
given their size, how many do you think you could fit in your mouth?
6 or 7.
Okay, they're pretty big. All right.
Yeah.
Have you tried? Would you? On air?
They're kind of disgusting, all things considered. Like,
I mean, you have to
I've-
count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm not.
Sorry, I'm not being a very good shepherd.
Okay, just to be very clear, I do not sound like that. That is Christie's trying to shove her fist in her mouth. Okay, that's not me.
Well, it's my fingers actually, but yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
The trick is to try and stab your fingers inside your mouth.
Oh shit, Gribbly. Okay.
Oh, what you bring? That was the
What
last
do I
question.
bring? What strength do I bring to the table? So I'm very inventive and I'm very insightful. In other games that I play, generally speaking, when there's some kind of like riddle or puzzle, that's where I kind of shine. I'm also somebody who gets who gets shit going, you know. So if we're going to be doing the whole like whatever, if we're going to be doing the whole role play theory idea, Christie calls herself a shepherd, like other people from the mid 2000s like school of RPG theory would describe her as a mediator. And from that same school of vocabulary, I am an agitator. And a mediator is somebody who is about making sure that everything runs smoothly, and an agitator is all about making sure that something happens. However, I'm not I don't think of myself as the stereotype of an agitator who is the dude who sets fire to orphanages and stuff like that, you know. I'm a bit more like, okay, so we've got this goal, let's make sure that we get to the goal, you know.
Good to know. The orphanages are safe.
Also, my pronouns are he and they.
Oh, I forgot to mark that down. Sorry.
It's no problem.
Sorry, I'm just laughing because I'm setting fire to orphanages.
Why didn't Erasmus think of that?
No, it came up. We specifically discussed the idea at some point of burning down orphanages.
Okay, so this is going to be kind of like outside of everything, and it's kind of a non sequitur to a certain degree. However, I come from the school of thought where back in the olden days of internet, like streaming, like role-playing games and stuff like that, there was a group of people who were from what was known as, at the time, known as the Lord Cat Mafia, who had Noah Antweiler, the spoony one, DM games for them. And in that, an agitator managed to cause a pogrom. And in my like child adult brain, that was the moment when I was like, I want to be like that guy.
But then you grew up.
Yeah, and yeah,
Became an agitator, but in a different way.
Yes.
but in a mature, in a mature way. There you are.
Yeah.
Like,
Nope, that is all good. And we are missing one Jess. And yeah, I'm not going to really answer for him, so
I think
I'll ask him.
But the thing about Jess's character is that his intention was that he would be a late joiner to the circus before this timing happened. So in some ways, like him being a bit of a newcomer next time will kind of fit in with his character. But yeah, you can always ask him at any point.
So I'm just reviewing, since we are putting this out online and people do not yet have any idea what we're talking about. Our new campaign is going to be the Cirque de Sauvage, which is a circus-themed campaign set in the world. If anybody's looking at Roll20, they can see there. And I have, well, let's see. So the idea of this is that this circus, which is sort of a co-op circus, but though it was started by a sphinx and a very mysterious man, it has been going around Telhuna for a long time, and Telhuna is a well-established country. Its neighbor, though you'd have to cross either mountains or deserts or both to get to it, is Lazola. And Lazola was, up until fairly recently, an uninhabited country that was mostly the ruins of an ancient empire that people don't really remember anything about, except that it went really badly, and people have the idea, whether based in superstition or not, that it is a haunted place and a place where no decent person would ever want to go, full of just monsters and ghosts and ickiness, right? But a group of, whoa, I almost fell off my chair. That was weird. Sorry. A group of people from Ravnica happened upon this. They were doing the kinds of experiments that one does in Ravnica, if anyone is familiar with that setting. They found basically an empty country and started poking around. And if you understand anything about Ravnica, they have this sort of guild set up where their culture is sort of separated into different guilds, all of which are constantly vying for power and position. So if one guild finds a place and goes poking around in it, every other guild is going to be there. And so now they've been sort of building up this country, which is I won't go too much into that, but they've been building up. They've created this new country. They're doing new things. And you guys are at the point of having decided to cross the desert with Circus in tow and find this new country and see if you can't make a name and do a little expanding, as circuses often do. So that's kind of about where we'll start.
Where are we starting? What city or place?
My plan, which is, not set in absolute stone, was to start at to do maybe one run through of the circus itself, like probably in Nauhut, or maybe even in the smaller place of Alfish, which is near where your winter camp is. And just to sort of go through how the circus itself works, because part of everything you do is about keeping the circus going and doing a good job at the circus, and that is definitely going to be a part of this campaign. It's there will be various kinds of battles and fights and interactions and all of that stuff, but there's also going to be this consistent thing of you're an actual circus and you're actually trying to ply your trade and do your thing. So yeah, that was my decision, was that we would do one just regular basic circus, and then from there, you would just head into the winter camp and from there go down.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, does anybody have any other questions about the way this campaign is set up?
Yeah, if we're going to, if that's kind of like the setup is that we're kind of like a traveling circus, you know, how it is. Does that mean that it's going to be like more like we are traveling from place to place? Is it going to be more like thinking of it in terms of, is it going to be kind of like a TV show where it's like we're traveling village to village and it's like we meet new people every time or stuff like that? Or is it going to be centered around a particular area, a particular place?
It is mostly going to be traveling around, going from place to place, running into new people. There will be recurring characters that you will interact with. But that you'll have to find out about. And of course, there will be the recurring characters. Because of the nature of this, there's going to be NPCs that are part of your circus. One of the things that you guys kind of do as you're going around, and you'll probably do more of than you usually would in Teluna, where you have a set reputation and people expect you and they know you're coming at a certain time and they, you know, this has all been set up. There's going to be, I guess what you would call after hours stuff that you might do to sort of, you know, one of the people will go ahead, as would happen in a traditional circus. One person goes ahead and says, you know, gets everything ready and says, okay, where do you want us? What can we do? What are the hours you want? They get, sometimes there's some bribery. Sometimes they pass money back and forth. And sometimes, you know, there might be some problems that locals might want somebody around to fix. Or there may be issues that you could solve. There are circuses do more and traditionally have done more than just show up, put on a show and leave, you know, so there's going to be a little of that. It is not, the tone is not necessarily going to be, and we could talk about more about tone and what our expectations are about this, but it's not going to be the most bright and happy tone kind of circus. There's going to be a dark side to everything that we're doing.
Okay. The other thing would be to do more on a mechanical base. How mechanically intensive do you consider this kind of game, or how much do you kind of feel it should be?
Well, I mean, I guess I think it would probably be a continuation of the kind of mechanics we had from the corruption of Lyroon.
Yeah. So I am more of a narrative rules kind of person. Like, yeah, rules is written, but if someone has a really cool idea, if somebody wants to try something, you know,
someone wants to wrangle a beholder.
I wasn't going to say it, but I was thinking it.
No, that's the pride of the campaign.
It was my rule of cool moment for the whole campaign.
Yeah. So like, I don't want excessive rules as written getting in the way of people having freedom. There are going to be, in terms of the circus itself, right? There's going to be a set of different roles that people can make, and we can talk a little more about how that part happens if people want.
Sure.
Okay. So someone like Micro's character, because I'm staring at him, so the circus comes into town and there's going to be a series of roles that will decide how well you do in the town, right? And in terms of the circus itself. And that will give you a boost in terms of your reputation. If you do well, it will get you more money if you do well. that sort of thing, right?
Okay.
So, and there will also be individual things. So the circus as a whole does XYZ. There'll be some rules. Then it will be set down into somebody like Wolks is more of a sideshow guy. So he's got to do his own roles to see how well he specifically does as a sideshow guy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas someone like Christie's definitely going to be a big tent attraction. That's how her character's going to go. So it's going to be, she'll do roles to see how well she does, but she's going to be just a part of the big show attraction.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, there'll be some roles, but I'll also want to be asking people like, you know, R&D, can you describe the tricks that you're planning? You know, what does it look like, what you're doing?
It's the secrets.
You don't have to give up your secrets, but like, what, you know, are you cutting a woman in half? Are you, you know, what's your magic show look like? What do your costumes look like? You know, and painting that picture as well. So it's going to be a combination.
Okay, that's cool. Last question. If you were gonna like use 3 words to describe the theme of the campaign, what would you use?
Ooh, 3 words. Because there is a theme. But
it would be the themes. So, like, if you use, so you could say, like, you know, courage, family, camaraderie, blah. You know, that kind of thing.
I like blah as a theme.
Secrets is one theme and a mechanic as well.
Yeah.
Another theme would be I want to say chaos. I don't think that's quite the right word, but the idea of a certain amount of wildness. You know, this is the circus of the blood wild. And so one of the themes is that of wildness, let's put it that way.
Okay.
And I would say family might be a third word that would make sense.
Cool.
All right. Well, I think traditionally the idea of a circus as a family, and almost everybody, even by accident, has some sort of family aspect to their character, or the family is important to them.
No, it's very, like, it's all very good stuff, honestly. Thank you for indulging my questions.
Absolutely. I am here to answer. So that's kind of talks about, I add logistics down, and I think that we're sort of covering them. We've sort of covered the main ones. I always do level ups by people reaching goals. I do them narratively. I'm not good at math.
XP, yeah. Milestones,
you know, sitting there like, oh god, yeah, it's all milestones. And so and we'll see. I also try to give as much choice as possible, and you know, I mean, obviously it's one of those things that you're like, well, I want to suddenly turn around and build a ship and head to outer space. Might be a little difficult. Like,
you have to find a lot of nodes.
It's like, okay, well, we could start, but like that's gonna be a whole different thing. Like, so
You can certainly try.
but you can try.
That's just storing up a lot of dimension doors and just teleporting rapidly upwards 500 feet at a time. That's how you get out into space.
Is it though? Like, I feel like there's some downsides to the plan, but whatever, we can roll it out. But I think you know what I mean. Like, there's
Yeah, we know.
there's a story here, but within that story framework, and you guys have always personally, you've done your own thing, but you haven't like. I feel like we've been involved in doing stories together and creating stories together. So it's not like, yeah.
We're
And
not
so I would
monsters.
like that. So let's talk a little bit about table expectations. We're a pretty, I would say we are not a group that tolerates racism, sexism, homophobia, things of that nature. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, that's why we're like lefty gamers.
Yeah. And I think that's pretty standard.
Mm-hmm.
We expect if you can't make it, that you will let us know ahead of time if you can, unless something, obviously comes up, which happens. This is not, we do this Saturdays. Yeah. I don't think we've ever been like particularly problematic. Where there's 6 players now, you may just, if you can't make it, we may play it anyway, right? If just one person can't make it, we may well play anyway, and then you can come back in the next time, and we'll just be like, oh yeah, Lace character was off practicing for his next show, so he couldn't really make it, and that was it. He's been in his tent. It's very nobody
Very
knows
weird.
what's going on
For
it's
weeks.
Weird. If people have consistent difficulty making it week after week after week, eventually people start going, well, what's up? But that hasn't really been a problem with us. So here's hoping.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions or thoughts about things at the quote unquote table, the Roll20 table,
The virtual table, the metaphorical table.
Not like an expectation, but I would assume that we tend to go between 3 and 4 hours usually per session, just for planning purposes. Like, it's not going to be an 8-hour session, or unless something really big is happening, we might go 4.5 or something. But yeah, that's gonna, I assume, stay the same. Just to say it out loud.
Yeah.
Some of our people stay up very late for this. So I think that, being kind of respectful about the time.
I think at this point, it's more than half. I think it's like only
We're mostly Europeans now.
Here, yeah.
Yeah, I can't promise anything past about 1 a.m. So
Yeah,
because my meds can kick in hard.
Okay. But yeah, you Yanks are the minority now.
Yeah, I know, weird.
Soon we will conquer
You Yanks, like she's not.
I know.
I was wondering if someone was going to catch me.
Hold on.
No, she paid her German dues, so she's like, I can say this now.
2004. I've been here. 3 or 4. Anyway.
At this point, you're basically a, resident token.
Yeah.
You're a resident token European.
Yeah.
We could talk about moving this back a couple hours, but I feel like Jess couldn't do that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, it's Saturday night too, so.
The other thing is that actually I will be coming from a different game, like on to here. So if we move it back any further, it pushes that game back as well,
Time works.
which I'm perfectly happy to do, obviously. However, this time works for me, kind of thing.
Well, I think it would conflict with Jess's work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're already locked
usually.
in. It's fine. It's worked for 2 years.
Yeah, it's fine.
Something that I've got is, we were talking a bit about red lines and stuff, or red cards, or however you want to describe it, of racism and such.
Right.
Are there any specific subjects that are no-goes, like proper red lines for people?
Well, I do. If anybody, and you can DM me individually for this, but if there are things that people are genuinely uncomfortable with, that either, I forget what they call it, it's like veils and something. I forget. Lines and veils, I think it's called.
It's all different names under the same thing. It's like, there's the traffic lights, there's the lines,
Things you don't like.
Cards, things you don't like.
Like, let's say if somebody, like for me personally, you are never going to see a child get killed in my games because that bothers me. But other people have to tell me like what bothers them.
Okay. Well, for the sake of openness, I have a real problem with torture. Okay. So that's kind of something. Not to constrict people's wish to kind of to tell stories about that. However, if it's the 24 form of torture where it's seen as necessary and it works, I'm not good with that.
Yeah.
So if and I'm just going to, I don't think that there wouldn't be any torture's fine here. So are you saying if somebody referenced it, that as long as it was considered a bad thing, you would be okay with that? I'm just trying to make sure I know you're
okay. So the lines are really coming. It really comes down to a thought experiment time. The party comes across a bunch of bandits who are assassins or some bollocks like that, right? We take somebody for questioning. We extract the information that they obviously have because this is a story by shoving their head underwater or something like that.
Okay.
And that is a situation. That is a very clear situation of using torture in order to get a positive outcome. And it is seen as the heroic thing to do.
But if someone brings it up as a they experienced it, or that's
I think that's fine.
Okay,
shouldn't be too bad.
All right, we can obviously that's something I can just generally avoid, but it's also helpful to know
for the other players,
players, and for everybody, just to know quite where that is.
These interrogation tactics, interviewing ones, not torture.
I would assume general intimidation would still be all right.
That is fine.
Okay.
The subject that it comes to is actually more to do with my previous experience with role playing games and blah blah blah. Because some people have done the whole I'm Batman thing and then dropped someone off the side of a building in order to extract information. Like Batman did, and it's a good idea that they do that, like Batman did. And then there's yes, you did the right thing by dropping this person off a building and shattering both their kneecaps.
Yeah.
And that's in that situation, it's gross, it's gratuitous, and I don't like it. And it's I'm not so gauchious to kind of sit there and go, no, this is not a thing, because it's a story mechanic. It's characterization on the same, but it's characterization on the same level of this is to show that you're a bad dude. If you're torturing people, in my opinion, that's the sign that you're a bad dude, and you shouldn't be stopping on people to kind of go, yeah, look how much of a dark bastard I am.
Yeah, do we have anyone who's gone with any kind of evil alignments? Because I went chaotic good.
I'm true neutral.
I don't know if I'm in a position to tell about everybody, but there was somebody who had sort of an evil, and I actually had a talk with them and said, like, what are we talking about here? And it was clarified to me that they didn't mean any kind of sadism, but just, looking out for number one kind of
selfishness.
thing.
Yeah.
Selfishness. And that's a whole different thing, because to me, I'm just not interested in personally in a really sadistic, evil, out to get people kind of, ushering that along. It's just not something that I just don't think it would be a good match for my style.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like a truly evil character, but like a selfish, I'm going to do my own thing. I don't really care about anybody else. That's a whole different.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's being a dick.
Yeah. Which is good. Talking about boundaries. So I would say that we're a pretty PG-13 kind of.
Except for when we went to Horny Island.
Well, that was silly, like pretty light, Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean,
aside from the fellas.
I have seen a couple of games that have gone down the route of getting towards the adult content, but they tend to veer away at the last moment. So
yeah, I think PG-13 is good for you too.
Yeah, that's a good description.
And good for, like, I don't know, like, it starts to get awkward.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those people that feels like, why are we so willing to talk about violence and not so willing to talk about, other things that one can do with one's fist? But at the same time,
yeah, and romance is a part of stories.
Again.
Like attraction is part of stories. I mean, that's so.
Yeah.
But it just can't be a distraction.
It's an entire genre.
So, something that I would like suggest as a kind of way of putting it to right is it kind of becomes a thing of whether or not the party as a whole kind of like agrees to it. So it's like if someone's uncomfortable or just doesn't want to deal with any particularly racy, not racist, racy content, the party, a member of the party can just go, "Yo, guys, I'm down for this. Let's move on."
I think it pretty
and
much.
And then it just becomes a cut to black kind of thing.
Yeah, I think
to black is
pretty much the joke is you roll.
handling.
You can roll a performance check is the joke, and that's kind of where it goes, and then the screen fades to black. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we went, as they talked about Horny Island, before we went to Horny Island,
yeah, there was a whole lot of
that's what they
consent.
call it.
Yeah,
there was a
questions.
whole discussion about that and consent, and making sure everybody was comfortable. And I feel like, should something come up, and I didn't actually have Horny Island planned. It was sort of the luck of the rolls, because there's a bunch of different demons, and they rolled to see which they kind of went.
We were naturally drawn to it.
Guys die are naturally very random. However, they have an alarming propensity to choose the horniest answer.
There was no die roll involved here.
Yeah, this was a
choice.
Yeah.
It was there was a bunch of different islands, and each of them had a different demonic energy sort of thing going on, and they just picked the horniest one. So that was good. So I was like, all right.
Which we did without knowing, because if we would have known, we definitely would have gone there. Succubus, let's go see what that's. Anyway.
But anyway, so I do think at any time people can just go like, okay, we gotta, I need to take a minute here, or can we take a break and talk about this?
Ooh,
or
banana, can that be our safe word?
Banana can be the safe word.
All right, we're okay. Banana. Let's move,
You have a cook
move on.
for the game, by the way, so perhaps not using a food item.
Cell phone. No one. because that's not gonna come up in the actual game.
How about just safe word?
That works too.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm using my safe word. Just
Yeah.
Stop.
Yellow card.
all right.
Sure,
Surgeon, like very short things. We do the if you flank, it's advantage. I don't know that we have a lot of special rules other than that.
Feats are allowed.
Everyone gets opportunity attacks, right?
Yes. At least that's how it was in the previous. Isn't there something about hit dice and ones?
Oh yeah. If you get a 1 on a hit dice when you're rolling for your hit dice, just roll again. It's too much of a bummer.
That's for
By
con.
leveling up, not the normal hit
not
dice.
the short rest,
Yeah.
but for levels.
Yeah, not the short rest, but when you're leveling up and going to the next level. Is there anything anybody would like to suggest?
Potion rules.
Bonus action?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
I should have asked. Rather
Yeah, but
just
you know,
yelling out potion rules.
Yeah, because you're going to be making them, so we'll probably deal with a lot more potions this time.
Yeah. Can we put a pin on that and sort of see where the if we end up relying on potions a lot for healing, then I think it would make sense actually to have it be either an action or a bonus action to take them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about a bonus action to take them and an action to give them?
Well, it all comes down to whether or not for the eventuality of whether or not we use them. You know, there's no point in like setting the rule without.
But if people are going to be drinking a lot of potions, then I think we need just a generic potion rule if it's going to be an action or a bonus.
Yeah. If you if well, I'll just throw it out there, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Lace. Do you have an idea for your character? And it does not have to be a healer. It's just the reason we're questioning about healers so much right now is because we don't have one. So it would be down to a lot of potion.
Oh shit! I just looked on the thing and found Sib being his VTuber self, and I was like, oh fuck yeah! Power to you. All right, so the ideas that I have are...
Sorry to interrupt, but Chrissy, there are some circus roles that you kind of listed off.
Oh, yeah.
And could you, I don't know if Lace knows those, so if you could kind of review, because he will have to...
I will.
Okay.
Can we, I was just going to, let's talk to Lace first, and I will refer you, because that's a good idea.
So the first idea that I had was actually to do with being kind of like a fortune teller kind of person. And that was very much kind of like a mechanical thing, a divination wizard that just kind of like speaks to itself, right? Something that was going to kind of be a bit more out there in regards to things was going to be kind of like the not ringleader, because you've already established that the owners are there, but like basically just being like the compare, you know, the orator, the person who brings people on and calls people off for that kind of stuff.
We could actually do a ringmaster, because they're the founders, they're not necessarily the ringmasters.
Yeah.
So
and with that in mind, that means that I could reasonably easily, like, because that is like very much like a role, you know, that is the role of the circus. That is more of the, you know, I can kind of like fit. Oh, it could be a priest, you know, and it's just to do with the oratory nature of the thing, you know, that kind of thing. Something else that I think I particularly like is being a bearded lady who is a slime. And it's just a reskin of a changeling to be a slime who changed shape. So those are the three ideas that I had.
The first one might clash a little with Jess's character.
Yeah.
That's kind of his role already.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, no problem.
Yeah, ringleader. I'm interested in this slime changeling.
Yeah. Well, it could even be both. You know, like it would just be the thing of like I just like the idea of being a changeling, and I don't like the idea of changelings because I don't like the whole hags and their connections to the Fae and that kind of thing. I find it a bit pat. So I was thinking, hey, let's just do it that they are literally a slime that has accrued enough intelligence from their existence as a slime to just, you know, assume some interesting, cool shapes. And it's just like down to that.
It's Slurp 2.0.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, either one of those. I think whichever one you think would prefer, I can see. You know, you being. I don't have a problem with either one.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'll just say I will, left to my own devices, I'll go for ringleader, who is inherently a shapeshifter and who is a changeling. So whatever the class is irrelevant. The race is changeling, but it's been reflavored to be. They are a slime. It is a slime who is just sentient, who's been awakened by some weird spell or whatever. And it just comes down to how you feel about like what's good for that, what's good for it or not.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
You have so class is genuinely not at all important to you, or
class in this situation isn't very important to me because I'm leaning, because this is the kind of thing I was asking earlier about, is it a mechanically intensive game? If it was mechanically intensive, the requirement for the healer would be much, much more in the forefront of my mind, so to speak. And because it's not, like, technically my character basically wouldn't have a class. They would have something that enables them to be a good ringleader, and that would be the main focus, you know?
All right.
So I could very easily be a cleric, you know, and it would be something like one of the more healy clerics, and it would just be, oh yeah, they're a great orator. They could be a druid. I believe the Circle of the Spore has some good, like, healing abilities. And it just comes down to like what works best for the character, what works best for the situation.
All right, that works. Well, we could talk about that more later. So yes, what I was saying about the circus, one of the circus rules is everyone gets performance as a skill. This is what you do. You're all proficient in it. And the one difference I would make is that someone, again, like Wolks, I don't know why I keep picking on him, but he's right there, who's his performance is based on his strength. So instead of using his charisma, he can use his strength. Right. So if you can make an argument as to what you using something other than charisma because you don't happen to have a big charisma, that would be probably not for you. Probably your charisma should be pretty high because you're trying to deceive people to some degree or another, I'm assuming.
Or at least like convince them.
Yeah.
I mean, something that we can include as like an optional rule. I believe it's called I think it's called like independent skills or something. And it basically is that you take away the standard attachment that certain skills have to certain abilities. So intimidation is not, yes, intimidation is a charisma skill, yes, but they don't necessarily have to. You can use strength intimidation as opposed to charisma intimidation and stuff like that, you know, like that's an optional rule that we could use in order to kind of reflect it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it is a little more dependent because, like, I don't want to be in a position of like some things are going to be strength based, some things are going to be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
you have
some
to make
things
an
just
argument for why it has to be on something other than the standard.
Yeah, like you're gonna lift
Yeah.
the table to show how strong you are.
Yeah. Like, I'm lifting a heavy anvil as part of the performance. Clearly, I should get to use my strength.
Yeah. Like, make an argument and we're good is generally how I do that. So, but it's not just a total free for all, you know.
Regarding the circuit itself, I understand that it's kind of like we are supposed to be like running the circus and everything like that. Something that I could suggest is the use of Matthew Coville's Strongholds and Followers as being like a way of mechanically kind of like expressing the circus. That's something that we could do. They have rules in there for making there's like mechanics for making basically anything into kind of like our home, our stronghold, so to speak. And it's kind of like there would be benefits to having it there, and it's basically like a reason to spend money on it and stuff like that. It might be an idea to think about,
Sure. I will take a look at it.
Okay.
Because I'm just not familiar enough with it to.
No. I'm certainly just suggesting it, not as a definite.
All right. Is there anything else that I've forgotten?
Secrets.
Was like, what?
Secrets. You haven't talked about the secrets.
Secrets, yes. So everybody has, prior to this, rolled, other than you, because Lace, I like to have the character before, because like I have tweaked the secrets. But all the characters have a secret. It is one of the thematic elements in here is that, nobody, people, they join us, they join the circus. Well, a lot of times they have some past or something that's happened. So, and we've been rolling for them. So It is, if you can roll me a D20, that would be great.
That's a 15.
All right.
Why is it like that?
If you put any number, any roll, between two square brackets, they come out like that.
Oh, okay.
It's just it's to a certain degree a quicker way and more.
It takes up less space in the.
Prettier. Yeah. It looks prettier,
Yeah.
All right. So I will be letting you know. Other than Discord, are you on Twitter?
I am, yes.
Okay. So if
it's
you
the same name as well. I think I'm following you as well on Twitter.
Probably. Well, I shouldn't say probably, but
well, you should.
Who doesn't follow me? Those poor bastards. I don't know. They're mad, I tell you.
Oh, I've got a question because I'm curious now. I'm not going to be able to go to sleep tonight unless I know. So when Lace was taking on the role of ringmaster, what were the other jobs that were still the other roles that were still open? Because I guess thinking like a changeling could do anything, so or at least know what our gaps are.
What were the roles that were still open as far as like circus things? There would obviously be like animal tamers or people who perform with animals. There's let's see what else. Barkers, just workers, people in.
I would probably be helping with some of the manual labor, just as a way of if I'm gonna exercise and train, I might as well help set up tents. as part of that. Makes sense.
Yeah. But even things like taking tickets. So they're like those sorts of basic things. There's also, oh God, I've got to go get my circus.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
I
there's,
didn't.
but there's, there's a tightrope walker. There's people who go on unicycles. There's trapeze artists.
No.
No.
Ringmaster is the right one. Ringmaster's the right.
So, yeah.
Cool.
We need the guy who plays the.
Yes.
Yep. Organ grinder.
Yeah, this is that song every time he plays is gonna be stuck and going on a loop in my head. I know it.
Someone's got to get real good at like the recorder or something so they can play it. Micro. I don't know why I'm looking at you, but it's you.
Yeah, no, it's not. I have no rhythm. I can't even keep a rhythm, like drumming along to a song. Like it should not be me.
All right.
There must be a god of fame and fortune, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there is.
And Chimera, luck on luck, goddess luck on luck. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited to see what this character is going to be like.
Yeah, isn't Garl Glitter Gold? See, I'm outing myself as a nerd. Would be one, I
Garl Glitter
think.
Gold, Yolanda, goddess of travel and freedom.
Yeah.
What's his name? Technically, Cthulhuch is the goddess, or is the god of whatchamacallit, circuses. But that's because he likes traps, and pyrotechnics count as a trap.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I guess we've found out that there are.
Yeah.
places
I mean,
to
if
go.
there wasn't, just make one. That's literally the point of the game.
If you want, I can shout downstairs for my flatmate, and he can probably tell us chapter and verse, like whether or not there are any gods of the circus in Ravnica.
Nerd.
Well, there's a demon of the circus in Ravnica.
Ah.
There is a
Nerd.
circus. Yeah.
Circus demons.
No, is that my bloodline?
Nice.
See, is there anything else about the campaign that people have questions about
Oh,
or suggestions?
We do have it's not like a rule. It's a custom, which is if you need to leave, we normally do BRB in the chat as opposed to like announcing it and then muting ourselves. And then when we come back, we type back because it interrupts the flow less. So there's that.
Oh, and this is something I occasionally forget. If you're eating,
Yeah, mute yourself.
mute yourself. Or typing or playing with your animals or whatever.
80% of the time.
Yeah.
Just that's just it's one of those things that like you're gonna forget, but just try to keep it as
Yeah, or someone will ask you. Could you mute yourself?
All right.
We normally chat for like 5 or 10 minutes after a session.
Yep.
Like a little wrap up, so don't leave.
Yeah, but that's usually because people like, hey, I kind of want to get to sleep, or
Yeah.
at least like go off and do something that isn't
Yeah.
as brain intensive because it's the middle of the night.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's just like all the norms and customs and things that we might not see on screen.
All right. The last thing I'm going to go over, I think, is wishes. And this can be very free form. And I'll start. A couple of wishes that I see coming up, and this can be anything from I want to arm wrestle a dragon, or I'm hoping for the opportunity to tap dance more often, like in game. Mine are I want to be better at Roll20 because I'm not better at Roll20, and I know Christy's gonna help me with that.
Yeah, I'm here to support and love you.
And my other one, which is a little more long term, is that I'm hoping like that we can spread this out to maybe Twitch or something. I'd be interested in doing that.
Okay.
Right,
Dust off my Streamlabs
Neat.
again. We'll talk promo.
All right.
I don't mind using my channel for it. I want to try Christie's.
Oh, okay.
Streaming one of Christie's games there.
Yeah, all I have to do is give you the stream key, right?
Yeah, if you want to put it onto your channel instead.
Well, okay, we'll talk about it off air.
Yeah.
The text.
Well, that's definitely technically possible.
Okay.
Gonna have to like bring up my game on our little overlay and stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We might have to turn some cameras on from time to time.
Oh, no.
Figure out, but yes, well, I'll have a look. Okay, if you want to do this, we should have a talk, and I'll see what I can get ready for our first session.
Okay.
We can might meet because I do have a Streamlabs account. I wasn't like promoting it or doing anything with it, and I thought, why? So if someone wants, like, if you guys are gonna like promote it too, and like you want to build up an audience there and interact a bit more, yeah, I'm willing to do what I need to do on the technical side to make that happen.
All right, that's awesome. See what happens when you ask.
Yes.
So anybody, I'm gonna go person to person, but if anybody has something that they want to shout out.
I'll wait to be called on.
All right, let's see. Oh, let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Spin the
Yeah.
wheel.
1d6. Someone roll a 1d6.
So I will roll a d6, and that's Lace.
Hey, like just to be a bit weird and pedantic, like wish is kind of like something that you want to occur in the session in the game, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Could be in the game, or it could be, yeah, I mean, or as part of the table, or, you know, you're hoping to get recipes. It could be pretty much anything, but like, it would be, if it was somewhat related to what we're going to be doing, that would be good.
Okay. So I used to be really, well, I still am to a certain degree, but I really connected to like the online indie scene for role-playing games and role-playing streams and stuff like that. Like my wish is that with doing this, I can kind of like maybe reconnect with people, maybe kind of like make a bit more of a connection with that kind of shit going on. For the game itself, I've pretty consistently asked for at least one session, one like adventure or session where we have to grapple a battle of wills with a tantric sex cult. That's entirely up to you as to whether or not you take that on board.
Has anybody ever come through with that?
Yes, of course, many times. Like anybody hears tantric sex cult and they're like, I'm going to be the first to do that. But it turns out, aha, I won, because actually everyone does that. I've played you all. Ah!
All right. Well, I'm writing it down.
I might be able to. I realize I might actually be able to not to best you, because so far I realized this the other day. A lot of my characters have ended up being unintentionally asexual for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, you only just noticed this?
Yeah, I didn't realize this the other day. Like, wait a minute. That's weird.
Like, I figured that out like months ago.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Okay. Okay, you know,
Well,
that's
I
fair.
think that's what
fair.
happens when you always want to be like a goldfish, you know?
Goldfish can be sexual.
Yeah, but then we have to find you another goldfish.
Yeah, and then awaken it.
I don't know. I feel like these DMs, they're not very accommodating. Like, I just want a goldfish and goldfish relationship. Like any goldfish would.
The goldfish.
I feel that I'm not being properly catered to.
To be also entirely fair to the DMs, he's actually had his girlfriend his actual girlfriend in the game
Hit on his
try
character.
to ship his characters
Yes.
together, and he still turned it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that
having it.
character, it didn't make sense.
So are you gonna be sexual this time?
Hey, I mean,
no lizard folk, so
if you find another lizard folk,
Maybe.
yeah. But
We'll
love
see.
isn't really a thing.
So that's your wish? Get busy?
No, that's not a wish. You won't
Find
get to
another
know my
lizard.
wish because my wish is related to my secret. So I'm currently messaging it to Chris.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right. So secret wish from Micro. I will write that down. So that's 2 down, and it's really Sibby, why don't you just go?
I don't know.
All right, I'll switch it to Christy, and you think about it, Sibby.
Okay. So in terms of my character, like what my wish is kind of like for this game is I would like Vianney to be a slight stranger to me. So oftentimes, especially with Elsbeth, who's the character I've played the longest, and I think this happens a lot when you start out with D&D, you just tend to play like the coolest version of yourself, you know? And so I understood Elsbeth very well, and I think I would feel like I had progressed as a player if I didn't always agree with Vianney, but I understood why she was doing what she was doing.
All right.
And in terms of the game itself, I just think, like with her character, I'm. Well, I think it's not a wish. Given that the characters that she's going to be playing with, the path of her life is going to become her own, and that's what I want for her, to get out of her parents' shadow. Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
I have sent it to you.
I will take a look at it in a minute. Okay. R&D.
I want to pilot a mech.
Pilot a Mac.
Mech.
Magic
And there is-
Gotham.
Yeah, and there is one in Tasha's.
Okay, wait a second.
Mhm.
Have you
Spell
been
it.
watching the other game? Have you been watching Christie's Sunday one?
No, I haven't in a couple of weeks.
That's okay.
Phew. Stuff we've been discussing.
Knowing R&D, that came from his brain. Considering what he has in his own campaign and what he does in his free time,
Yeah.
that is not a surprise.
He is a great lover of all things mech. All right, so no,
Does he have
spell
all the
it
mech
so I know what
warrior
you
games?
need.
A mech, like MECH, mech.
Let me see it. Okay.
Yes, robot, a giant robot. And there's, like I said,
Okay.
there is one in Tasha's. There is a pilotable giant robot in Tasha's.
Okay, Tasha's. I will make a note of that. I think that's possible.
Dinosaur races? I'm kidding.
Dinosaurs races.
And all right, now Sibby.
I think mine would probably be a bit more lore-based in that I'd like my character to understand his heritage, figure out why he's a tiefling.
Okay.
On a personal level, I think it's going to be trying to find a way to break out of the shell I still have around me.
Aw, I just want to hug you right now.
Yeah, that's really wholesome. That's a good wish.
Yeah, I mean that is from my point of view most of what I had to cover. Do people want to talk about their characters?
Sure.
Oh, I can't wait to hear. Please. Oh, also, shouldn't we? Do you want to establish like maybe some histories between the characters or connections? Like, because some of us have been working at the circus,
for
together
a number of years, so
or at least a couple months, depending on when we joined. But
yeah, no one is completely new because I didn't want like completely new people.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So how about give me a chance to go pour myself a glass of wine?
Oh yeah.
And Very important. I very rarely DM while completely drunk. However,
I like it very rarely. Not never.
This is where you and I separate. I only DM while absolutely shit. If I wake up and I can actually read my notes, I know I have failed as a game master.
I know.
D&D. Dungeons and Dragons and drinks.
Hey, can I brag on Sib to you guys for a bit?
Yeah.
No.
All right, so in our game last week, the party had to sneak into, like, it's called the House of Knowledge in Neverwinter, if you know it. And they had to get into the basement, which happily there was something going on so they could get down there. But then they had to get past this door. And it had 3 separate locks, so 3 separate rolls. And the DC...
What are you, mad?
The DC for the door was 20.
Doors are already the hardest enemy in D&D. What are you doing?
So, Sib, do you want to explain what happened? Because it was really...
Perry's backstory is that he's a bit of a thief and a rogue, and so he's good at picking locks. So we get to the door, and the other sort of rogue in the party decides to assist.
And he blessed you.
And the bless.
Yeah,
and
bless on
the first 2 rolls, absolutely perfect. Just nailed it. The third roll, just below, and then with the bless, we went above. And it was just...
They made it.
It's just... I'm not sure if there was supposed to be something more going on there, because we just went through it so quickly.
I honestly I didn't tell them the DC, obviously. I just told them it was a very difficult door and you think it's going to be really complicated and it's going to be very difficult. You know, it's going to be a hard time. And you got a crit, didn't you? I mean, you got like, you basically roll a 20. It's not a crit, but yeah. And then, yeah, the final roll, all they needed was 1 more. They didn't know how much they needed, but I had them roll it and they got the 20.
Nice.
And the chances of them getting 3 scores of 20 in a row, I think Hayadon or Yellow worked out as something like, like 0.01% or whatever.
It is
Yeah, but
quite
then I had to point
low.
out that the base skill Perry has for picking locks of the tools is 10.
Yeah, so that helps.
And then because he's a halfling, he gets the luck trait. So if he rolls a 1, it's an automatic reroll.
Yeah, but it was, teamwork makes the dream work.
It does.
Y'all.
Nice.
That's that's fun.
Yeah.
Straight up folks. OP.
So yeah, get him out of his shell and look what he does.
Are you
No
playing the
pressure.
same character you were playing when we did the test?
Yeah,
Perry
training.
from the...
Yeah, the same one that was
Yep.
with Mike. Okay.
Yeah, he's got a much...
Same Perry. Lacking the BS now because that got burnt off.
Barbara.
Oh,
I need to mention this before Chris comes back. Lace, it's funny that you mentioned sentient slime. We had a game that was like all homebrew is allowed, just a one-shot ish thing.
Yeah.
Where I literally played an awakened gelatinous cube called Slurp.
Ah.
So where Slurp couldn't talk because he's a gelatinous cube. He couldn't cast spells because he's a gelatinous cube. He had to have another character who happened to understand him interpret for him. And she was allowed to change anything I said. It is one of the funniest characters I've ever played.
That sounds like true mastery of the art of D&D.
Micro, have you ever in your life played a human?
And I'm not planning on it because
No,
I'm a human in real life. Why would I want to play one?
I now want Perry to go away, get bitten by a werewolf, come back, and force Hibara to speak for him.
Oh yeah, all 4 of the 5 characters got a little ratty. They have some werewolf bites. So
Oh,
But it's absolutely useless for Penny.
Yeah, one of them's gonna stay a were-rat for a while.
Oh god.
Yeah, Kelsey.
Oh no.
Yeah, she's now a were-rat barbarian. So she can-
Nice.
With
yeah.
the god of war stuck in her head.
I'm a
Goddess
big
of war, if
lover
I
of
remember it
the.
right.
I'm a big lover of the were like mechanic in general. Just getting just because it's a fantastic and it's a fantastic way to just easily fix your character if you've made a disastrous mistake.
That's true. That's true. Suddenly you can turn into a rat, you can turn into a were-rat, you know, you can
It's
use
more to do
your
with-
perception if you use smell or hearing, you get advantage.
And it's actually
That's
more
why
to
I
do
want the
with
werewolf.
it's more to do with what kind of
That
game
is.
I've generally run. I've generally played in and run. Like we generally play a lot of like I've said, I like die rolls and stuff like that. So there's a lot of kind of like random chance. One of the big things that we do is kind of do the A, B, and D, you know, roll down the line kind of thing, and you get what you get. As a result, one of the more unfortunate players had to play with a rogue that had a dexterity of 10, you know, and then almost got his arm hacked off, and as a result has now a dexterity of 7. You know, like, that's life.
Wow.
What edition is that? Fourth?
Fifth.
Fifth. Okay.
If it was in 4th, we would have immediately just rioted as the player base because if it was 4th, because you can't play a character like that in 4th edition.
Yeah, you would die in the first battle.
Well, it's not even you would die in the first battle. You would extend the length of everything that was happening because you would legitimately be a dead weight. Like the game is not designed in any way, shape, or form to be like anything less than a superhuman. You're like,
Fourth edition is very much like
superheroes. Superheroes. It's the superhero.
Yeah, it really
game.
is. Like
And it's like cool, but you know, it does mean that you don't roll dice. You do point buy, and that's it.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, like as a result, we've been fighting. As a result, in this 5th edition game, we've been fighting were-rats a lot because the GM has legitimately like made it an explicit thing that he wants this character who's got 7 dexterity to get the shit bit out of him. So he becomes a were-rat, and it fixed because part of becoming a were-rat is you get 16 dexterity, and it's like it'll fix your dex, dude. Just get bit, for fuck's sake. There you go. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Valid point. Hey, see, she did it.
Yeah. All right. So I have read things that were sent to me, and Lace, you have a new secret waiting for you in your DMs.
Sliding into your DMs with secrets now, huh?
I did.
Secret DMs.
I am so excited to hear about everybody's characters.
Okay. And I want to just say one thing that it really upset me that nobody rolled a 1 because that was an evil twin.
Oh.
There was an evil twin on the table.
That would have worked for me too. That would have worked brilliantly for me too.
But that's fine. It is what it is.
Proactively change laces to a 1.
No, now we'll all know.
That is not a secret.
Yeah, we all know. And
All right. Does anybody want to go first?
I mean, I can go first.
All right. Go, Micro.
Volks is a, as I said, he's a healer monster, bearded lizard, inspired lizard folk. He's also a strong man. He's a very, very compact build, weirdly stubby arms and legs, like especially his legs seem like they're too short for him to move as fast as he's able to. But 6'2", almost 300 pounds of just muscle and big tail. If you look up what a healer monster looks like, you will get it. Venomous bite and very well. He despite being not being a barbarian, being a fighter, he disavows armor of any kind, because as he's made very clear, that is a crutch. That is something you put on because you yourself are not strong enough to withstand the blows. He's very self-improvement focused. He also does not drink, and in general has a strong aversion to having anything that clouds or messes with his mind, be that alcohol or spells. So yeah, that is his character, and he hails from the Bonewind Dunes, the desert that we are about to travel through.
So what does he do with the circus?
He's a strong man.
Yeah. So like, tell me, like, is he doing stuff out in? Is it a big tent? Is he doing like stuff out in the crowd?
He mans the I can't remember the carnival game, but the strongman game is literally called the one where you hit a thing with a hammer, and it like there's a thing that flies up. You have to hit the bell. Mm-hmm. He mans that, and then he has some sideshow attractions where he will like lift heavy things or like throw an anvil up into the air, like anything to like classic demonstrate your strength, take a cannonball to the stomach. Classic strongman feats.
What's that Scottish log tossing sport?
Yes, I can't remember. But stuff like that. Yeah.
Throwing a caber.
That's what's yeah.
And do you do? I know that you have some interest in like wrestling and
yes.
that kind of fighting. Do you ever do like challenging people to wrestling matches?
Yes, definitely. if anyone gets too cocky, especially at the strongman game, I will challenge them. I'll obviously not like straight up kill them. That scares away the customers. But I'll like if they want to fight, then if they think they're hot shit, then I will definitely show them that no, you're not.
All right, and you are a neutral guy, so I'm just going to write that down since you don't mind.
True neutral, because I mean you can kind of assume it based on the fact I'm a lizard folk.
How long have you been with the circus?
Like a few years. Like it's. I left my tribe after I'm 23, like, years old. Lizard folk don't live that long. And for like first like 12, 15 years, I lived with my tribe and then left them and wandered for a bit. And then, yeah, a few years I've been with the circus. I've been around.
Okay. All right. Now, does anybody think that there's any particular reason they'd have an interesting or difficult relationship with, or a friendship, anything that like makes you think, oh yeah, I would have tried constantly to get Wolks to wrestle me or something, I would have done this.
So
a training buddy.
A question I would have, right, and this is kind of more to do with defining partly my role as like the ringleader and whatever. Mm-hmm. Volks, you're the strong man. Have you ever been like in any kind of like mediatory like altercations or anything like that? Like people not wanting to pay, other performers not really wanting to do as they're told, or getting into strops or anything like that?
I don't think I might have done some, especially early on. I would imagine I would have done some bits as like security or like bouncer. I don't think I would have actively like gotten into altercations with other members of the circus, because in my mind it would just be like, well, I mean, that's your choice. You just won't get them. You just won't get the small, tiny, shiny metal discs that are so important for some reason.
Well, fair enough. Okay, so something that I think would be a pretty interesting, like, subject, probably from your perspective, is like my character was kind of like somebody who was very indulgent and kind of like, maybe was very interested in seeing what you could do, so he was the kind of person who'd like show up, he's kind of the weird people who would show up with like books and books on the subject of snails and be like, yo, do you want to read up about extrapathology? And then when you're like, what the fuck does that mean? I'll be like, oh, okay.
And I think obviously when you're going through the desert, you're going to be very useful to them.
Probably, yeah.
Do you think there's other like roles that you would play in the circus itself?
Well, like some manual labor, like someone had to put up. It's like circus tents are heavy, and putting them up is a lot of work. So that, and
if it kicks off, should the ringmaster send you?
Well, might be a good idea. Also, I would say that when we're traveling, I do both narratively that makes sense, but also mechanically because of my Outlander background. I do have like the ability to at least feed a certain number of people. Like I'm able to hunt because that's what I did for like half my life.
Okay. So pretty much you're like a very integral part to a certain degree. You're kind of like part of you're simultaneously like one of the, you know, strong men, go figure. You know, there's a like a mediative aspect to that, but there's also like you're also a builder, you're also a fixer, you're also this, you're also that. And
I'm very eager to help because
I think that kind of like plays a bit into the way the family dynamic is like we're all multiple things at the same time. We're not just one thing, you know. And yes, we might have an NPC who is just straight up the person who organizes setting up the tents and stuff, but we're all kind of mucking in. So yeah, that kind of like that works. Yeah, that's cool.
Does anybody else think that they have like a special or different or unique relationship in any way with Wolks?
I think Eldon would, since he's a artificer and has a battlesmith, so he's got a robot assistant lady, would probably try to get Walden to arm wrestle robot lady to like or Wolks to make her like stronger. And
oh, I would definitely do that. I would definitely be like, oh, the thing you built to protect you rather than trying to protect yourself. Yeah, I will show you that is inadequate.
Yes, and there's probably a like arms race between the two of them of trying to like outdo him. Yes, like I'm gonna outdo you this time. I made her stronger.
Friendly rivalry. Yeah, I like that. That's fun.
I wonder if Temerity would have fun cooking food for a lizard.
I mean, I will be able to bring you some weird, exotic ingredients.
And then, of course, there's the training, meditation. Temerity would have to keep himself in shape, so he's going to want to wrestle every so often.
Yeah, I think for Vianney, she would know about, you know, him and his performance, and they interacted before, and can't think of why she'd have a problem or anything, so they're probably on, you know, friendly terms, work colleagues kind of thing.
Yep. Okay, most important question. What does your costume look like?
Oh, I posted that in our Discord.
Oh, so was that the red?
The red one, the one is the one where he's holding the hammer that's like work clothes day to day, and the one where he's holding the anchor, it's basically like it's hard to describe. Like it's vaguely monk-ish to some degree, but it's I don't know if you can take the picture and like describing it as like. It's like loose half length, loose shorts, red shorts, and like a belt made out of a big piece of cloth and a cloth, like a simple piece of cloth across the chest, and then
it just goes like from one shoulder. It's a one shoulder, just almost like something like
a cut off toga, basically.
Like something a Miss Universe would just wear, but as a shirt.
Yeah.
The Miss Universe thing, big banner thing that you put across. So not much going on the not very lots of coverage. But
yeah, I want to
bend to the knees.
I need to be able to show
Bend to
off
the
my
knees.
muscles.
All right, but definitely red. Okay.
Yes.
So like red, white, and black are kind of the thematics. I take it.
Well, red for me, like the Roach, the Hero Forge thing wasn't like the color wise. It's hard to hit. It was hit design wise. So mainly in the picture, mainly focus on the costume. This was as close as I could get within that within the limitations.
Yeah, it was more just a generic question to Chrissy.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was
red is the color of the circus. That is their main color. They are the wild blood. From there, though, they'll do any other kind of color as long as sort of red is dominant in some way or has a very strong role. So if, for instance, the magician is like, I'm not wearing a red suit, but he might have like a red tie or something. Or some of his boxes would have red.
Yeah.
So he could wear a blue suit or a black suit or whatever and have like a bit of red on it. So.
Got it.
All right. All right. I feel like we could go on. Sib is the only non-performer. He is the guy who makes the sandwiches. So what can you tell us about that?
The bacon
Yes.
makes a sandwich.
Craft services.
I do have one last question to ask. Well,
Oh, sorry.
How much do you press?
a lot. More than you.
Okay.
Lizard folk brains don't deal with numbers. It's all comparative. Can I lift more than you?
I don't judge. It's okay.
Two logs.
That was a legit question. I answered it how the character would answer it.
Mm. All right. Sorry. Any more questions, I should say, for Wolks?
No,
No.
that joke was it, really.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you even lift, bro?
Yes.
I didn't ask whether or not he lifts. Everybody lifts, but whether or not you can press something.
Ah, yes, pedantic. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we were on Sib.
Oh no!
Yes.
I just realized we're gonna have two Erasmuses now.
Hey, I don't know what that means. Two Erasmuses?
Yeah, we're gonna have two people being really pedantic.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I
Well,
promise
like
I'll
most
keep it to a
peasants.
minimum.
Most of my peasantry is not a compulsion; it's a joke.
At least with me, if you want me to find my compulsion, leave the freezer open. I think I'm banned from Iceland now.
So tell us about your sandwiches.
Well, not just sandwiches, it's
Okay.
cooking, baking. It's his thing since he left the monastery. He's taken it up, he rather enjoys it. He still does most of the meditation and practices and forms for the monastery. But baking and cooking, making foods that really helps people have a good time is his thing.
And his name again?
Temerity.
Oh, right. Sorry. My brain's like Swiss. So much in I'll get used to it. I'll learn it.
What is, because you have like a cart, right? That's the idea.
Yes.
You have your food cart guy. What does it say on the food cart? What does that cart look like? Is it like Temerity's treats, or what's going on with that?
He hasn't bothered putting any words on it. It's just got a facsimile of a giant bagel for some reason.
Hey, but bagels are good.
Who doesn't like a good bagel?
Yeah. Oh, I should probably mention I will give you all. I will give you all nicknames because that's how Lizard Folk name things. I have literally made a list in my character sheet where I'm gonna write down all the nicknames of characters.
That sounds good.
So let's see. All right. So you're a monk.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And are you at the food cart like dusk till dawn? Or do you only open for certain hours? You do other things around the circus, or is this your main thing?
If he's not meditating or helping out somewhere else or practicing his forms, he's at his cart.
Okay.
Oh, do you sell like Tai Chi lessons or anything?
No.
Oh.
Basically, it's going to be
or anything.
Yeah.
He'll do those, and if people want to try and join in, he's not going to stop them. But if anybody tries to approach him about that, it's just going to be, would you like a waffle?
So you like to feed the people in the circus as well. It's not like you just whip this out for the paying customers.
Indeed. It's definitely a deep passion of his.
Now, does he, would you say there's any kind of theme? Like, does he like comfort foods? Does he just like fair foods? Or is he constantly trying new things?
Oh, he loves trying new things. But he does really appreciate bread. Sometimes pastries. And if you don't like his sandwiches, he gets quite upset.
Right. I'm just writing notes, sorry.
That's fine. That's literally your job, so.
It is.
Won't fault you for that at all.
Now, when it comes to the sort of the after hours stuff, are there things that you like wouldn't do, things that you would definitely do, things that you're more interested in terms of like if somebody showed up and said, well, we have this group of bandits out there, you know, would you be interested in that? Or would you be like, I don't know if I really want to get involved with bandits or like stuff like that?
If there's bandits, he'd get involved. He's not going to say, no, I'm not going to get involved. It's just bandits. It's people are meant to have a good time. Bandits stop people having a good time. Deal with the bandits.
All right. So you want everybody in the circus to have a good time, right?
Yeah.
That's like, okay. Now you've already shown us your sort of your uniform, but do you want to describe it briefly?
On his chest, it's basically just a few straps to make a harness to which he can attach pouches. Simple as. On the lower half, it's wraps around his ankles and a kilt. And he doesn't do wet clothing because his skin is wet.
Shirts are uncomfortable because wings.
Yeah.
Yes, large, lovely bat wings.
Do you ever get involved in security? People being rowdy, somebody who says, look, these guys are here, they drank a lot, they're being rowdy.
Yeah, he'd step up if he has to knock people out and drag them back to a tent or back to the entrance if they've got family.
All right. Now, I'll tell people in case they don't know, you're the only one who doesn't have necessarily performance picked, unless you picked it out yourself. You got a special can drive your vehicle skill. Because that seemed you're not an actual performer. You're a sandwich maker.
Hey, that's
you originally mentioned sandwiches, so that's why I'm going to have sandwiches on the brain.
Sandwich artist. That's a form of performer.
I think there is grand comedy to be found in the idea of this very simple but very, very passionate gourmand wanting to create new and wonderful recipes using all the fantastical colors of the culinary rainbow, and everybody just wants a ham and egg sandwich.
all the wonderful, weird dead creatures I will be collecting.
Yeah, and you're just kind of like, I'm sorry, dude, this won't sell. Why not? Because it's not got ham and it's not got egg in it.
Spam an egg.
Spam. And then you get to the deep questions and he turns into the toaster from a dwarf.
Do you?
I will say I will probably be very fascinated by the concept of spices and stuff, like food actually made to taste good, because I would be used to just, well, it's food, you eat it to stay alive.
It's gonna turn you into a foodie.
Hey, I love the idea that like Wolks would be out and he would see some random spice and he would just sort of get it because he knows that you like spices. So he's just like bringing you some random, like, here, it's allspice. You can use that on chicken, like, you know.
have a rabbit I caught with my mouth and this parsley.
Yeah. I ran into this squirrel on the road. Can you make it into a sandwich for me, please?
Yes, because squirrels are evil.
I mean, you can't eat squirrels.
All right. Does anybody else think that they would have like a particular interest or relationship with Sibby?
Oh yeah. So I don't want to jump, like, if R&D wants, but oh no, Vianney would be at that cart. Like, every time, because presumably the circus has, like, a mess hall, and they, like, you know, just make mass food for everybody. But if she could get food off a food cart with an employee discount, yeah, she would be there all the time. Like, they would talk. They would know each other. Because it's the closest thing to chic in the circus. It's the closest thing to, like, urbane and metropolitan, no matter where they go. She would be there.
All right, I can tell you something, and you guys can tell me if this is something, because I've done a lot of research on circuses. So that I am a nerd. If anybody wants to,
no, don't doubt. Like, no, we don't doubt it.
Questioning that,
it just gets deeper.
So traditionally, like in old school circuses, had very specific, like, etiquette around food. So there'd be a big food tent and people would sit, and there was almost like a hierarchy, and everyone would sit. You would have proper placemats and tablecloths and all the things, and there would be food, and it would be like a people would be waiting for everybody to be served before they ate, and it was all very proper. So it was like a
it was like a proper dinner party.
It was like a proper dinner party, formal meal every night. And it, like, the trapeze artists, who are considered the creme de la creme of circus performers, would be the top, and then it would sort of go down from there based on whatever. But yeah, everybody every day having a proper dinner together in one space.
I'm down with that. That's actually going to be kind of like a cool thing, because it would allow. So like, rather than having it be, we have like role-playing circumstances, like little things that we notice or whatever. being in the abstract concept of during the travel. It could more specifically be of during dinner, because everybody's there for dinner, you know?
Yeah.
And if someone doesn't make an appearance, that in itself is like a role-playing point.
Yeah, where the fuck are they?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
By the way, Vianney would have like 2 pieces of lettuce to be polite and then save her appetite and go find Temerity and then ask Temerity like what new things he'd come up with, and could she try, you know, like she would want to be like the hamster for his delicacies and his ideas. Like, I'm not sure if I should give this to the public. What do you think? That's when she would eat. Everyone thinks that she never eats.
Something that I would say is this would probably be a bit more irksome for Temerity, which is the ringleader's kind of like response to this, which is I am in the process of like trying to figure out how to get you to set up like yoga lessons so that we can make money out of that. And also to like teach people more things about cooking and charge them. So you can see that like the main relationship is that I'm trying to monetize your skills more. And this is kind of like an ongoing thing that's been going. You said you've been with the group for like years now, right? Or relatively recent? You said, I think you said years.
It would have been years.
Yeah, this would have been something that's been going for a good long while. So, you know, like, you can take of that how you will, but yeah.
My idea that is burgeoning for your character, Lace, and I'm sorry if I'm interrupting, is that because we had talked about like, okay, so there were other ringmasters. Like, I'm feeling like this is your big shot. You were you were doing like ringmaster-y things. Maybe doing some barking or calling out,
manning
and, like,
one of the smaller sideshows.
Yeah, manning a smaller sideshow, and now this is your chance to take on the top role.
Yeah,
and
like in fact, I actually said that I am I've actually got like a couple of notes about my character. So,
all right, we'll pause it.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to it. But yes, so did you have any response to that, Sibby?
With regards to the cooking, yes, he'd be absolutely happy to give people pointers, tips, the occasional lessons, especially when they're trying to prepare a lot of food. When it comes to the yoga, you're going to have to get used to the... Do you want a bagel?
I love how you
yoga.
Yoga bagel. Look. Downward facing.
The bagel is totally like a modern yoga pose.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say Temerity would probably be with Eldon confused because he's like, you're not sure if he actually likes her cooking or not.
Oh.
That's gonna
fucking
be
drowns in this shit.
Oh, yeah. You're not entirely sure. You're like, I don't know.
Like he just eats it and like
he never he tends to be very busy in the evenings and hides in his trailer like
so he's the one who's never at the dinner tent.
Never at the dinner table.
Ooh.
So you're not sure if he likes it.
At least I fake it.
He doesn't. Yeah, he hasn't told you. He's just, I don't know. Maybe he does.
Where you get the information about the other tribe members, you have to be there. It's beneficial to your long-term survival.
By the way, would Temerity sneak Vianney food and help her with this subterfuge?
Maybe.
I wonder, would Temerity ever want to be involved in dinner preparation?
Oh yeah.
I kind of just assumed that.
Well, no, they said they feed people out of their food cart.
Oh no, he'd get involved. If there's cooking to be done, he wants to be there.
Okay.
Nice. Proper dinner preps.
Still only want stuff.
Yeah.
Eat around the rest of it.
So Temerity gives you a little wink, like, that's the stuff I made.
Yeah.
I've now come up with Temerity's nickname. It's gonna be Bread Wings.
Red Wings.
Nice. Okay. Any other questions for Temerity?
Good.
Also, do you mind if I call you Sibby? Because I've started calling you Sibby.
Sibby's good.
Okay.
As I tried to explain earlier, when I started calling myself Sibwolf, there's a long gaming history by the name. Don't worry about it. One of the first things people started calling me was Sibby. So
It is a very obvious nickname. So yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
R&D.
And you can go next. Okay. So, as stated earlier, I am going to be Eldon. Aranis is my full name, but the stage name is Devil Charm. Magician does good old fashioned like human magic, like the one that we see in our world, like sleight of hand, card tricks, that kind of stuff. Some big performance stuff like in the tent, but for the most part, he'll do just like card tricks and stuff. He's most famous for being able to catch a bullet with his teeth. So that's one of his big finishers is that he gets shot and catches the bullet with his teeth. So that's his big thing. He's been here, I don't know, probably like 6 months, 7 months, less than a year. I think at this point, most of you probably know that he dropped out of wizard college. So he's like a college kid, pretty much, who couldn't hack it in wizarding school. Like he cannot do magic. So he dropped out, but he comes from a family of nobles who are still paying for college because he hasn't told them that he dropped out of college. So currently he's on an internship. And regularly sends letters to his parents about how great his internship is and how much he's learning about magic and stuff. But can't actually do magic. So
wait a second. You're going to a great unknown continent that nobody knows anything about, all the while maintaining the artifice of, hey, Dad, I have so much fun in this. I learned how to transfigurate today.
Yes, pretty much.
Fuck yeah, bro.
He's leaning hard into like, I'm not telling my parents that I dropped out of college because they paid a lot of gold for that shit, and I am out here fucking being part of a circus. But so instead of doing magic, he is an artificer, so he has a lot of gadgets and stuff that he uses to mimic magic things. And including his trusty companion Wish, who is a robot assistant. She's looks like a person for the most part, like is bipedal, and he does make her look a little bit too voluptuous and sexy for the show. But he will like kind of tone that shit down when it's just the two of them wandering around the like day-to-day stuff. She doesn't look like that. He just kind of changes her bit so that she looks more attractive for shows and stuff. Because showbiz and whatnot. And he's also got a little like winged cat companion that's like it's a clockwork metal thing called Blue. I decided he's going to be Blue because cats. Nice. So a cat named Blue hanging around with wings.
Is he actually blue?
Is he? Yeah, he's made of a blue metal. Like
okay, cool.
Yeah, he's a blue.
He might get to keep his normal name then.
Make it his normal name. Yeah. So Blue kind of comes and goes. Just because he only has so many magic items he can make at a time, but those are the two creatures that he usually sees. He doesn't hang out during meals and stuff. He's always way too busy for that, and says he's making adjustments to all of his gadgets and whatnots, and so he eats in his tent or whatever, his cart, wherever he can, to keep working into the wee hours. Has a arms race with Walks, and yeah, that's about more or less him.
Cool.
Something I'd like to ask, because you've obviously made a character who's like, pretty cool and everything. Like the thing about him not attending dinner. Like, is it possible that we make it like he does appear, but he usually leaves early or something like that?
He'll show up to like pick up his food and stuff, and maybe once in a while you can like get him into a conversation, and he'll sit there and chat with you while like keeping his. I think he would have asked Sibby, what, I don't remember what your character's name is. Temerity. Would have asked Temerity. That'll take me a bit. It would have asked Temerity to like pack his lunch, if possible, and so he'd probably like stand with like a pack dinner to go, but he'd stand around and like chat with you, maybe even sit and chat with you, but he wouldn't. He just like after chatting, he'd get up and take his food away.
Yeah, this isn't to kind of like enforce anything particular. It's more to do with like when Chrisiousity brought up the idea of this being like, this is how dinner is done, it's to do with like superstition and temerity and tradition, temerity. God's sake, Sibs.
Yeah, if you go into the gear icon, you can change your display name, and you can change it to temerity if you want to, so that no one has an excuse.
Yeah, I looked at it, I'm like, Walks, Lucky, Sid. Okay, that's not right.
No. But yeah. So so it would be kind of this thing of like, you not showing up would be kind of like a fight against that tradition, which sure, it's character. It's characterful. It's always good.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, maybe it'd be a good idea for it to just be like, yes, you make an appearance, but then you move on really quickly or something.
He definitely have the attitude of like, couldn't have this been an email?
Yeah.
About it, like, did we really have to meet about this? Yeah. And then be like, I'm too busy for this. Like, I'll come and join your meeting, but then I gotta go. That's the attitude he would portray about the whole situation.
It'd be kind of difficult to get to know you. So
he'll definitely like helps out with anything he can. Like he'll help out fix like the carnival attractions and stuff, and he's more than willing to put Wish to work.
I think there'd be a lot of rumors about what it is you're doing in your tent.
Probably.
Making a sex bot.
I mean, to be fair, he walks around with a sex bot like most of the time.
Well, the thing that I was going to bring up was most of my relationship would be whether or not you can make more of Wish and whether or not you can have sex with it. Because it seems that people are obsessed with it, so
that's the wrong order for those questions.
Yeah, so I guess we're all kind of like they have a good word in German for it, which is a Bekannter. It's like, it's not a friend, but it's more than an acquaintance. Kind of like a colleague that you know, but only at a distance.
I know what that means, because we have that in Danish too.
Yeah, they don't have a Bekannter. There's no Bekannter in English. Yeah.
Yes, that is why English is.
They should have that. It's a good phrase, because that's the majority of the people. Well, not majority, but a good part of the people you know in your life fall into that category.
Well, we would probably say, we would turn it into a verb and say, I know them, or we know each other. Yeah. But we don't have a noun for it.
That's a good translation.
Yeah, so he probably does have like a good, like, he's not going to be like an asshole, and you have like a good working relationship with him and whatnots.
Okay, he's not standoffish.
He's not standoffish, but he's too busy for a lot of things. Is what he keeps telling you.
He's a big nerd.
He's the reclusive colleague.
Whatever like rumors you think, or whatever you think he's doing in his tent. He's a big nerd.
If I were to walk past his tent, by the time people should be settling down to bed, would the lights be on or off? Yeah, exactly.
What noises and smells
what would be
are coming
happening
from it?
when other people are going to bed?
What sounds?
Moans?
What sounds? They're probably the lights would probably, he probably would stay up rather late, working in peace, because he does his his magic does involve a lot of like using alchemy to like make things explode and smoke and things like that, so that he can like he has to mimic magic with not magic, so he's got to do a lot of like sciencey shit.
All right, well then Vianney would know him because she would want some pyrotechnics or at least some smoke in her act.
Mm-hmm.
So
he'd probably sit there and like make something for her to like he's more than willing to help out. Like anything you need, he'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll help you.
Yeah, so they would probably like work together in the big tent on the shows, you know, him bringing in the stuff for her act and things. Yeah. Maybe talking about it creatively. Can you make some with colors? Can you? Yeah,
things like that, and he'd probably be more than willing to help out with all the special effects.
Okay, cool. So that's
I get the feeling Temerity is going to need to keep a nice stock of coffee and tea.
Probably.
I will be asked. You will probably be asked to make like explosions or firework that like to like so that Volks can be like, yeah, no, I can fucking withstand your explosions as an act.
He'd probably try to figure out how to get a cannon working and shoot you with it. Like,
yes,
he'd be more than willing to like sit there. I'm not sure if the circus could afford it, but he'd be pushing for it. Like, I would totally love to run a cannon and shoot it at Walks. Like, that sounds awesome. Can I please do that?
My osteoderms do the work.
Mm-hmm.
That's the little knots, or if people don't know, on like, there's little bone bits inside a Gila monster's skin.
Spurs is what they call.
No, they're called osteoderms.
Oh, I apologize.
Sorry, I am a biologist in real life.
No, you got nothing. That's not to be apologetic for.
So Lace, you've got this new kid here. He's a little odd. What is that? Just like circus folk?
So the thing that I think would be most thing is that like I desperately want him to feel welcome here. And so I'm being as accommodating as I can to the kid. As a result, I'm probably going to be like indulging probably more than I should. So he doesn't want to come to dinner, and I kind of say, yes, you can come to like the beginning bit where like we do prayers or whatever the fuck we actually do. And then you can go, you know, it's not required, you know, that kind of thing. Generally speaking, probably I've got the idea of this guy is going to be like a great asset to me and to my career, like as the way it kind of like goes. So, you know, that's kind of like how I'm thinking it can kind of go. Yeah.
All right.
Are you going to masquerade as his tutor, writing letters to his parents?
I think that like that is something that we'll have to see later, you know, if it ever comes up as a big thing. But it would kind of be a thing of like at the risk of sounding a bit crude, it will be kind of like, you know, I need to hide a body, and then I'll be like, where, you know? And it's not because I'm your pal, it's because I want to be able to then go, you can't leave, I know where the literal body is. That kind of thing.
Why would you bury a body?
I mean, I mean,
there.
We can continue the farce by having it be that Volk literally walks by and goes, "What the fuck is there a body here?" and digs it back up and eats it.
It's a waste of food.
People are crazy.
This is only session 0.
Lizard folks don't understand metaphors and analogies. They take everything literally.
Yeah, that
right.
will good. He's got some lizard folk experience, so it's yeah.
It's one of my favorite races.
So R&D, what's your costume?
It's a very like super stereotypical wizard outfit. Like cape and like tuxedo-ish thing. Still working on it because the artist who I am commissioning to do it hasn't finished it yet. But once she finishes it, I'll have a better look at it.
When you mentioned it earlier, she was literally like, "Oh God, I can hear her talk about it. It's so much work. I have so much to do."
She's also my roommate, so.
When you first started, I was thinking, is this going to be Windswind?
Mm-mm.
But then, damn it.
But yes, and she probably can hear me down the hallway.
Yes, she can. I know for a fact she can.
But yes, and then like top hat, like those good old fashioned like steampunk glasses that go like cover the sides of the eyes, beard and long hair, kind of a little bit of piratey swashbucklery going with it too.
So you're human, right?
Human, yes, good old fashioned human.
Good old fashioned human.
Yes, good old fashioned, again, college kid human. So very much has college kid attitude about everything.
Oh God, he's a frat boy.
He's a frat boy. Like, he's a college kid. He is
fail out. Sorry, yeah.
Yes, but he's a college. Like, he's still a college kid. He's not. I don't even know if he's 20, maybe 19, 20. Like, he's a kid.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, did you just put on glasses?
Yep.
Nice.
Nice.
All right, Vianney.
Yeah, so Vianney is a halfling. She is, in halfling, like human years, she would be in her late teens. She's, typical. Well, she's typical. Well, maybe a little bit more like petite from halfling standards, but the usual 3 feet. So she's got sort of a reddish blondish hair, kind of a ruddy complexion, and green eyes. Her name is Vianney Nimblefoot. Her nickname is Lucky because she just seems to have a lot of luck about her. Just when her mom was carrying her, she was able to take better shots than she could when she wasn't pregnant with her. So there's something kind of funky going on, but she's not entirely sure what it is. She just knows she's been lucky her whole life. So her parents are Ander and Andrie Nimblefoot. They're known as the famous Nimblefoot. And as she grew up, well, I guess I'll just kind of they had a little slogan that people recognize. They were so famous. When things have gone kaput, call the famous Nimblefoot. And so people said that to her growing up all the time. It's like the family's promotional catchphrase. And her background is, and I love this background, I'm just going to kind of have to read it out because it explains, you'll understand Vianney when you hear it. So it's from the Acquisitions Incorporated background options called Celebrity Adventurer Scion. Your family name strikes fear and admiration in the hearts of the common folk, but that's got nothing to do with you. Songs and stories celebrating the adventuring exploits of your famous parents are widely known. Kids across the land grew up wishing they were you. But being the child of a famous adventurer wasn't all hugs and kisses. You seldom saw your celebrity adventurer parents, and when they were around, it was all about them and tales of slaying this dragon or vanquishing that demon. All too often, you'd be woken out of sound sleep by someone standing outside your home screaming about the latest threat to the town or the region or the world. In the end, all you have to show for your lineage is your name. Most of the family's money went to consumables, from potions of healing and spell scrolls to copious amounts of dwarven ale. And everyone expects you to swing a sword, or sling spells like your famous forebears, making it doubly harder for you to prove yourself. So yeah, Vianney left to try to get away from the reputation and try to make it on her own. So she came to the circus. She's been there a little bit longer than Eldon, probably more like 9 or 10 months. Growing up with celebrity parents, she got a level in Bard because before she could really do anything, she could perform and do things when her parents had big grand openings that they were getting paid to do for the local, bar or whatever. But then when she decided to go out and make it more on her own, she's now got 2 levels in Rogue. So I think that, her act is it's less like typical big tent and think more like Cirque du Soleil. So she would like have a big fake looking silk like rope hanging down and climb it and twist on it and do various like hanging moves and poses on it, whatever. And then she would also get up and go on the high wire as well and do some stuff. But she's not, her performance is more about the pizzazz, which is why she likes to have smoke and things in her performance, like come out and climb up in a haze of smoke and end up at the top before anyone saw her or anything like that. And her costume is pretty. I've just anticipated Christy's questions, so I know she's ticking them off as I go. Her costume is pretty much what you see in there. That's what she wears on stage, which is basically kind of like a leotard, but again sexy because showbiz, but nothing too immodest. And it's in the corporate branded color, as well as the other colors that she likes to use in her act, like white ropes or black silks or whatever. And yeah, I think that was everything I had in my head. Oh, there was one question I had, which was, if I can't have it now, can I have it later? But I know we were allowed 2 common items.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if I could swap out, give up 2 common items and get a luck stone for lucky. And if I can't have it now, which is fine, can you put it somewhere in the game? That's my wish.
I'll get back to you on the luck stone.
That's fair. That's fair. Normally I would have asked it in Discord, but I forgot. So you would have had time to think about it.
It's in my head now, though.
Yeah.
And it does make sense with the... So whether you start out with it or whether you get it.
Yeah. Oh, and... Okay, yes, and metagaming, the build for this character, besides this wonderful jaded child of celebrities background that I loved, is her theme is lucky, so I'm going to get all of the feats that are luck related.
Nice.
I am also going to be fairly feet focused, just because I get so many, as a fighter, you get so many ability score increases, so I might as well.
There's something else I forgot. Sorry. She's more in the Tasselhoff Burfoot tradition of halflings than like goody two-shoe halflings. So she will, like, if she sees pickpockets in the main thoroughfare, she will like pick their pockets. If she sees picking someone in particular's pocket, she'll give back what they were stolen, then put the rest in the lost and found box.
Right.
If there are some like rich people who are being really assy or bothering her or being horrible, she will steal from them. And if she ran a late night poker game for special clients in the like she doesn't have like a whole lot of gambling skills, but I could work on that.
I think if you're into gambling, I think Eldon and Biani might hang around together, and he might like when he gets to be the shuffler, like when he gets to be the dealer, like he would probably use some sleight of hand to give you a bit of advantage.
No, you should not be allowed to be a dealer in a card game.
I know I shouldn't be, but that doesn't mean I'm not. Definitely, like I don't think anyone in like the circus itself would ever play cards with me. Like they know better. But I think if we were to like, hey, like let's go into town and make some money, like we would totally be like, I would totally be the dealer and give you a little bit too much advantage sometimes.
Or, if there was some illegal gambling, now I don't think if it's illegal, but there would be gambling offered, for certain clients in certain towns or whatever that the ringmaster might want to do, you could probably talk Vianney into, or you, or whatever. Yeah, we could work together on that.
Oh, no, we would totally get a scam going.
Done.
Okay. Now, you're the only Ravnican so far.
Yes, and that's true. Mm-hmm.
I think you're actually just probably the only Ravnican. So does this ever come up? Are people aware of that?
Well, my parents are on Ravnica and famous from Ravnica. So yeah, people, because part of, I think one of the things that kind of got me the job, because I wasn't a very good acrobat yet, is that my parents are famous. I kind of assumed that would be my my privilege. I'm riding that, whatever privilege. And there was also one other thing I was going to say. Now I forgot it. Went out of my head. But if I remember, I'll bring it up again. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Something else.
Do you wanna know your nickname? Your Liverpool nickname?
Besides Lucky? Yeah, I guess special extra nickname.
Heights.
Heights or tights?
Heights.
Because I'm short.
No, because you do all the things you do up high up.
I think it's because I'm short. I think.
Also, Ildan is gonna be called Gadgets. Wish is gonna be called Clunk, and Blue is gonna be called Blue.
Oh, okay. I do remember one thing I was going to say, which is generally she's got a really happy demeanor. But if you catch her when she's on her own away from other people, it's almost like there's a little bit of a mask drop, and she actually can have a very serious face. Because her background in Ravnica is a little more complicated than she wants to deal with right now. So, yeah, just bringing out the Ravnica stuff. That was what set my mind off.
All right. Does anybody think they'd have? Well, we've already kind of covered like Temerity. You sneak her treats.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure she's got the good food.
Tease her about not having pockets at her height.
In the hierarchy, I would be part of the bourgeois, or the aristocratic at the high table. Would Wolks be up there too in his role? Like, are the big? I don't know quite how we maybe would meet there.
I feel like Sideshow would be a little bit down,
probably,
but you could probably like
maybe I could orange. Sorry.
That's kind of up to you guys. You know, if you want to figure out a different, if you don't even want to use the hierarchy, if you just want it to be like you guys just happen to have the same table.
Yeah. Ringmaster will have something to say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I did, I would sit like on the edges of Plebville. So we could talk. Because presumably he'd help. I'd need to be really make sure, like I want to know the person putting up the poles that I'm gonna jump on.
Oh, I'll definitely help with that and make sure.
Yeah.
That's something like, no, I want to make sure like all your soft skins are weak and fragile. You will break and fall down.
Yeah, so if I'm working with them, like pyrotechnics and security on the setup, we'd probably have a working relationship on a regular basis.
All right. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Nope.
I'm excited that we've already started an illegal gambling ring.
Oh yeah. Apologies, I was a wee bit mute there. Like your response, you are the scion of like a famous adventuring party,
correct?
Right?
Parents.
How do you respond to that kind of stuff? Do you use an alias in order to hide it as your stage name, or are you the kind of person who would be like cribbing the name, like the background says, all you have is your name? So it's like, are you cribbing the name in order to better your life, or what?
So I think the thing that I said is my parents gave me a sense of duty, and I strive to uphold it even when the odds are against me. So I think she has very much instilled, the performance always an image when it comes to the public. So if people approach her, even though she freaking hates that catchphrase, she'll smile and she'll like, oh, that's so nice of you to remember, and kind of, do that thing, even though she dies a little bit inside, like Alan Rickman in that space movie he was.
By Grandpa's hammer.
Yes, right. So that's how she feels inside, but that's not what you see on her face.
And that's why she needs the treats.
Yeah. And so she would very much like have said, yeah, you can say this is a famous footnote or Nimblefoot's daughter. And here, if you want to talk to her after the show about her parents or whatever, I don't know, maybe she wouldn't appreciate that. But yeah, she's definitely like, I think she got her foot in the door because of her last name, not because she's all that great yet. She's lucky though, somehow.
And Lace, we have your character.
Actually, okay, before we go, one thing I will say that Volks is probably gonna find the concept of you being lucky a little weird and also a little like, hold on, no, you shouldn't be relying on your luck. You should be relying on your actual skills.
Yeah, you're gonna get so jelly.
No. It's not gonna be jealousy. It's gonna be
you can
like,
say that.
no. You can believe that
she's
if you want to.
responding in her character.
Yes.
I
am
would be
too.
interesting. Something that would be very interesting would be like if Eldon or somebody sort of took an interest in sort of seeing how far the luck goes. You know, just kind of like, you know, let's put a bet on to see, you know, I'm gonna literally huck these fucking pieces of cutlery at her and see what just like straight up doesn't hit her, you know, that kind of stuff, you know.
Try to trip me up from time to time, so I have to use my luck
Every now and
points.
then, just to see if it would work. And
I mean,
like,
if you think about it, during a performance, if you almost fall, that's a more exciting performance than just doing your thing.
Well, that's why you pretend to fall, so people crap their pants, and then you just I'm playing you.
Yeah, but sometimes you're gonna need help.
Yeah, well, I'm sure when we get attacked, I will. But...
Yeah. Okay.
And that's what timority's for.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. One thing I am feeling
from talking to you guys is I feel like it would be a good idea in this particular campaign if everyone started out with a feat. What do you guys think about that?
I would not be opposed to that. That would make my life in terms of deciding what I'm gonna do next level much easier.
Does that
I'm
mean I
down
get a
with that, yeah.
Second feat? Because I already got ones.
No, it would not be a second feat for you. It would just be a feat.
Okay, so well, that's fine. But then could I go back to like a regular human rather than a variant human and get one in every stat and have a feat rather than the variant human?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
I just like Chrissy's like, would you like me to just bring you presents once a month for the next year?
Yeah.
Like, would you like a feat? Of course, yes, but thank you for asking.
Would you like something that's helpful?
No,
I feel like it's not something I usually do, but in this game, it feels like everybody, like there's a cooking feat in Tasha's.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's and several of you have feats that seem to be almost keys to your character.
Yeah.
So for that reason, it seems like it would make sense for you guys all to start out with a feat.
Yay.
I'm gonna have to choose between two.
Oh well, you start out at level.
I wonder. However, will you survive?
So
well, it's not like I'm gonna have to choose between two for mechanical reasons. It's because I have two that both fit the character very well, so it's more role-playing reasons.
I'm not knocking it. It's great. Like, it's a good way of doing it.
I think we're on to Lace.
Yep.
Yes.
Right. So the ringleader entered the circus through a faucet that they were using in order to gain in order to get some water after a pretty busy night. This faucet happens to be in a particularly little known like backwater area near a Simic Combine reserve. And that was pretty much how I got there. And it was seriously, depending on how long ago Chrissy wants this version, this like manifestation of the circus to be. I think it would be a good, like, I like the idea that I've been around for ages, forever, pretty much, you know. So, like, asking a bit honestly, like, where, how long has this circus existed?
I think it's existed at least 20 years.
Okay. I like the idea that I have been a sideshow ringleader, a sideshow caller for at least 10 of those years. The ringleader is, shall we say, mercurial, somebody who is given to be reasonably credulous around people that they trust, but also very much fixated on certain subjects. So the fixation on money is kind of like a concern because they don't want to go to bankrupt, you know. And they've really wanted to be a ringleader. They've wanted to be the main feature ringleader for almost a decade at this point, almost more than a decade, like 15 years. If they've been in the circus for 15 years, you know, they've wanted to do it for almost 15 years, that kind of thing, right? And they now have this chance, right? They're also very much kind of, I guess you could say, like, kind and approachable, but not in the nice way of, oh, I like this person. It's kind of an aggressive level of positivity. It's that idea of like a used car salesman with their plastered on smile.
You mean an American used car salesman?
Well, British used car salesman would rather just be talking like this over here and say, oh, you don't like it? Go out, there's the door. Fuck off, you slag. You know, that's some such other things.
That's a very specific character.
Yeah. But like the thing that would be is kind of like thinking of like Eldrin, you know. Eldrin does not like being like this is a thought experiment. Understand, R&D. I'm not actually like extrapolating out a character beat for you, right? Like Eldrin is very kind of like workaholic and everything like that. Yeah. The ringleader thinks that you basically don't like being around other people. So in order to kind of like assist with that, yes, they will try and suggest like, yo, please attend dinner. Yeah. But will be often quite abrasive when people try to approach you, for instance, because the ringleader doesn't want you to be bothered, because then you'll leave. And then the ringleader will be out, the circus will be out a performer, you know? It's that kind of thing. Over earnest, I think, is a good description of that. Yeah. As I've said, the ringleader is a slime. Uses their ability to kind of like manifest themselves in different ways in order to look the most show business they can be at any particular moment. However, I like a beat of the character to be that they are affected by their emotions more. So the more, so a bit like a cartoon, the more angry they get, kind of the redder, and not like red in the face, the literally like the color paint redder they become.
Of course.
The more threatened they get, kind of like the literally larger they become. So they basically turn into ostensibly like a beach ball if they become apoplectic with rage, kind of thing. And you know, this is kind of a big thing. This is kind of a big important thing about them. They kind of like, they're mercurial. They change. They get fixated on certain things, and if they become fixated on it, this is kind of like a well-known thing. If they become fixated on the idea of, oh shit, like, you know, knife tricks are really in this season, that means everybody's got to have a knife trick, you know. You're a silk user. Well, like, cut the silk with a knife. There you go. You got a knife trick. You know, like.
Yeah.
The thing that would be is that overwhelmingly this person is so earnest, so forthright that, you know, you can't like begrudge them their earnestness, so to speak. You know. Like, how do you feel about it? Like, how do you guys feel about that? Because this is supposed to be somebody who ultimately you trust enough to kind of like lead the show. And if you guys feel like, nah, this is kind of like somebody I'd probably rub against, it's okay. But
Vox would not have a problem with that because he's also brutally honest. Telling the truth is more beneficial, than in this case than lying. So that's what you should do.
Yeah.
I think Viami... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think like the relationship that we talked about with Vulcan, the kind of idea of I'm trying to kind of like push you as being a bit more like center stage in the sense of like you'll be like I'm sorry, I can't remember the thing that I was trying to. Oh yeah, it was like I was trying to like monetize you a bit more. You know, try and make you more.
Maybe a bigger attraction.
Make you a bigger attraction. I think that's kind of like something as being like a bit of a thing between the two of us that can kind of be of subject. You know.
I mean, since one thing that like that would become very clear from interacting with Volks is that he uses the he's like obsessed with like improving himself, or not obsessed, but he's focused on improving himself. He uses the state, like being on stage, sort of as a convenient measurement, because the more impressive things he can do, the bigger reaction he can get from the audience. That's a measure of his progress. So he would not be opposed to that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you were going to say something, Christy.
Yeah, so I think obviously Vianney's family's name, but I think that would also maybe be useful. I mean, I think he might send her out to do the pre-show announcements that we're coming into town, or sometimes, like maybe drawn on that if he's interested about the financial well-being of the circus.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the thing that would be of something that would probably be of note, I get this impression because you've been around a bit longer. I get the impression of like probably the ringleader has kind of like not completely like gotten into your good graces or anything like that, but I like the idea that there's been like maybe there was this one time when I pushed a bit too hard, like saying, you're the I'm very sorry,
the Nimblefeet, the famous Nimblefoot. Sorry,
Nimblefoot. Because you're the famous Nimblefoot. Like I put the ringleader pushed too far one time or so,
or maybe she was having a bad day,
or something like that, and you just snapped, and it kind of like makes this thing of, yes, I force you to do the catchphrase. But there's like a recognition, there's like a tacit recognition that I'm not supposed to be so crappy with it. You get that? You catch the drift of that?
Yeah, because she would totally leverage that to ask for better pyrotechnics.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not in a manipulative way, but in like a, come on, like, we can do this for the show, and I can get Eldon to do this thing, and we can make it bigger.
Yeah. Something else that I think I've kind of decided on this, like I was playing with it, but I'm decided on it. Okay. So, the character's name is the ringleader. It is not a man or a woman. It is a slime, right? And slimes have no gender, right? So it's going to entirely depend on how you feel, how people feel about it in general. Pronouns for this character, I think, would work best as they, them, out of character, but in character. This character will change their shape to physically like be the most appealing to the circumstance that they're in, kind of thing. So even their costume is going to be a wild, motley change of everything. So one time there'll be WD Fawcett. WD Fawcett the 40th or something like that.
Is the costume part of them?
No.
Okay.
I like the idea that their costume is actually like a big wardrobe that they have actually made, that they actually grew and make themselves. But yeah, like that would be kind of like a thing. And then there'll be other times where, just because the response would probably be, just because the judgment of the ringleader, the response will be like, will respond better to feminine or whatever. They will, be a feminine character. There will be a woman, and it would then kind of change according to like whatever the situation is. Obviously in a bit of an exaggeration, obviously in a bit of, for a bit of happiness and chuckles, so to speak, because I feel that this character is a bit more comedic than I've usually done recently, and the inherent comedy is going to be like they are a bit over exaggerated and a bit OTT,
Okay.
Well, I now have a nickname for you.
Okay, so my people, so just to be clear, so that you kind of are open about being a sort of changeling.
Yes, but only to the members of the crew. So it's kind of like to the crew I am, but to the people, this is the Cirque du Sauvage.
Yeah.
They to them, I am whoever it would be, and like, yeah, there's not really much there to it.
So, do the people? So, as we travel from town to town each year, when we revisit, the question then becomes: do the people in that town just think that we get a new ringleader each year? That kind of sounds the same, or are they aware that it's the same person?
Or do you just mimic the same person for different roles?
So the honest answer would be I have no idea, because I haven't thought that far.
That's fair enough, but it's just
the in-character justification that could be like the narrativist justification that I could give for this very easily is this is my big break, which probably literally means that I have only recently become
that makes sense.
Like ringleader. So maybe I only recently became ringleader a little after,
you haven't gone on 2 tours of the country.
Or something.
Yeah.
Narrativist, talking from an in-character justification, my character probably would not recognize the need to actually maintain the facade. It's all to do with what's needed on the night.
Cool.
I think that's a really fucking cool idea. We just show up to another place and I'm just like, hello, it's been a nice year, hasn't it? And everyone's like, who the fuck are you?
And I already know your nickname. It's gonna be Never Same.
Thank you.
I have a question for the DM, which is, how did the opening emerge that allowed the ringleader to take their new job?
Ooh.
Something that I wanted to put in as kind of like a little character bit. Yeah, I am the 17th ringleader.
You are the 17th ringleader?
Yes.
It's a lot in 20 years.
Yeah, that's pretty high turnover. Do you
mean by that you've?
I just like the idea. I just like the idea that either there is a storied story or it is just an inherently unlucky position.
Kind of like Master of the Dark Arts at Hogwarts.
But actually, I know, like thinking about it, like it's not exactly like I'm not exactly married to it, is it? Like
it's a little.
How do you feel? How do you feel?
I feel like, because you really wanted the ringleader, I feel like you wouldn't have had to wait 17 years or 20 years if you know what I mean for the job. I don't feel like
that's also a lot. Like that's nearly one every year. That's quite a high turnover.
Yeah, I suppose so. The thing that would be of import is that like part of the comedy of the character is this person is earnest but not necessarily competent, so to speak. You know, it's like that would kind of be the thing. It would be like the decision is that you're good on the sideshow because the sideshow doesn't draw too much. So, it's that kind of thing of like mistakes will be recognized a lot more extravagantly if you're in the center stage and all that stuff. So that's probably like the reasoning.
But if they're constantly going through ringleaders anyway, what does it matter?
To a certain degree. But then again, I was kind of like, but it's kind of like, we could say like I'm like the second or third. It doesn't have to be 17th. 17th was more is more.
Here's an idea. What if you're not actually the 17th? You're maybe like, I don't know, the second. But you say that you come from a long line of ringleaders.
I mean, that would be one of the many aliases aliases, aka
pretend that there's a longer history behind it than there actually is.
Well, yeah,
Well,
like
here's an idea. Like, what if the ringleaders have all the ringleaders before, and there's only been like 2 or 3, but all of them met really ridiculously bad ends.
Yeah, I'm jiggy with that.
Yes.
Like I like the idea. I like the idea of it like being. I accidentally killed one of the ringleaders by coming out of the faucet that introduced me to the circus, and me kind of going, "Please don't drink me," immediately made them have a heart attack.
Right. So
one was showing people how much of a great lion, like dragon tamer or something like that they are, and he stuck his hand directly into the dragon's mouth, and rather than bite it off, the dragon just breathed fire directly into his eyes. It's that stuff like that.
Yeah. So we can figure out like a couple of like ridiculous deaths and just say there were 2 or 3.
We know which character is going to die first.
But it was always something absurd. It was always like, it was never like just, he, fell down a flight of stairs. It was always, one day you woke up and he was attached to the very top of the big top with the thingy sticking straight out of him, and nobody knew how he got there.
All the ringleaders are fucking Thomas Mitchell Jr.
Yeah.
If you know who that is.
I do not, but
that is the guy. So Thomas Mitchell Jr. First he invented leaded petrol. That was a great idea. Then he
had a visitor.
Then he invented CFCs. The thing that destroyed the ozone layer. Then he got polio and became partially paralyzed and ended up killing himself because he was an inventor. He made to move around, he made like a system of ropes and pulleys and ended up strangling himself. All his inventions caused major harm to people.
That's like darkly comic, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. No, I like the idea of that. Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I wanted to show off the most hideous creature you have all ever seen.
Yes, I've been enjoying the pup cam.
Look at this thing. She's so ugly.
I'm waiting for Pastor to message.
Oh, she's already yelled at me like 3 times.
Oh, great. Pumpkin is nice. Pumpkin is cute.
Creature.
You're so awful. Why are you in my office? Go away.
You pretend to not love her. You fucking love her.
Go away. I don't even like you, dog.
Yeah, we all believe that.
Yes, we all totally believe that you.
Don't look at me like that. Go away.
So, does anybody have any questions, comments?
Oh, I forgot one thing. I actually forgot something about my character. In addition to disavowing armor, he also prefers not to use weapons because that's, again, something that you, like, that's not your own skills. He prefers to use hands or mouth.
Okay.
Eldon is not a fighter. Like, he's a magician first and foremost, so he's gonna need some. Like, he foregoed all of the adventuring gear and armor and shit. He's got a gun because that's part of his show, but he doesn't have a sword, or like, he's not an adventurer. So there's gonna have to be some bit of finagling to get him. He won't be like super reluctant, but a bit of finagling to get him to do shit.
Put a pin in that. So, but anything about Lace's character?
Do we have to worry about tentacles?
Sorry?
Do we have to worry about tentacles?
So very, very quickly, tentacles cease to become a usable thing, as probably one of the people who taught me how to like assume an anthropomorphic shape discovered, that actually if you use enough like caustic soda or like salt, you can just shrink my size, and I seem to not really like it. And as a result, I had the tentacleness like viciously like driven out of me.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Bit
I'm
of positive-
assuming
bit of
that you
positive
really are
spiritual.
just a changeling reskinned.
Totally. Unless you want to make me into an actual like slime with a homebrew with the homebrew rules or anything like that, I'm legitimately just of the opinion that this is just a reskin of the changeling idea. That's it.
I think that makes the most sense to me. So
yeah.
Having played an awakened slime, it quickly becomes very confusing and very weird and very game breaking.
I mean, like there
of
might be
course
something.
you've played an awakened slime. My goodness, micro.
There's something to be said. There's something to be said about like the whole
in one of our these games.
You know, I am going to try at
one-shots.
some point. I am going to try at some point to be fit into a bottle and then carried into a place, so as to secret myself into the place.
I will happily help to punch you into the bottle.
That's. Thank you.
Yeah, just to, like, if it wasn't obvious, Yanni's a skill monkey.
We can put him into the bottle and then throw them at the enemies.
I would say, if we're still taking suggestions, if people on their character sheets, I guess maybe it's all of them, but the core bio, yeah, it's all of them. The far right hand side, there's a gear icon, and I would say set your like right under the gear icon, it says NPC. Don't click that. But where it says roll queries, if you can set it to always roll advantage, and where it says auto damage rolls, auto roll damage and crit, the games will just go faster if we always have, especially now with 2 more people in fights. I think it would be good if.
Wait, come again? Because I really prefer to have like the normal advantage disadvantage, because I can click between it, because then I know, like, I actively have to remember. Well, I actually like, okay, I have advantage now, and I click it.
Well, there's a permanent setting for it. So yeah, it's on the gear icon. So you know where it says core.
I know what it is.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure what you were asking me.
I just prefer to have the toggle for me.
Okay, well, I just think for like, yeah, I guess Sib mostly. I think because
But I'm fine with having the always rolling auto rolling damage, so we don't have to click on it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a game mechanics thing.
I have a question though, and it's something that's come up from this session 0, which is it really important to people in this particular game that they have a lot of encounters, a lot of fights? Or is this a kind of game where you're like, you know, if we only have a fight once every 3 sessions, I don't mind. Like, it's up to you.
For me, it's more important that the encounters are. I mean, they're also like. I will say this: you have always made fun encounters. Like, to me, it's more important that the encounters we do have are fun and they're meaningful to the story. I don't really care how often they come up.
I'm staunchly of the opinion that it's like this is a game that seems to be more of a non-combat kind of like travel exploration, that kind of stuff, and as a result, like maybe we come across some like predator or something like that, or we've got an especially angry like parochial person who just like thinks that we're the devil or something. But other than that, like, you know, combat should be kind of like decided. Just so that way it sounds like, just so that I don't sound like I'm just babbling, right? I think random encounters would probably be a bad idea in this situation, because we already have 2 characters. We've already got 2 characters who have kind of said that they're not particularly fighters. You know, thus making the dynamic a bit weird.
So, yeah, it would. Encounters would kind of have to be like, oh, something attacks us on the road, but then only certain of us would actually have probably actually be the people who fight, which is makes it a little weird and probably boring for the people who don't play characters who fight. So yeah,
we'll have to work out our tactics together, but as we go. But I think on that, I asked if we're in the middle of an exciting story, does it matter if we're fighting or exploring or whatever? I mean, I had a conversation with my players, and they commented that they hadn't actually done any combat for a while, but they had done 3 sessions planning and doing a prison breakeout, and they had a fucking awesome time.
And one of
the planning worked.
In one of our RDs, I mean, we haven't had one of our these one shots. We spent a whole session basically planning like our infiltration of a and how we're gonna do some stuff in the evil one shot. Yeah, we spent a whole session doing that, and it was fun.
Yeah, so I mean, the idea is challenges, and you don't have to always do that with combat. So yeah, I think we're all on the same page, unless of course Sibs here turned into a murder hobo.
Or R&D,
or R&D. I'm picking on Sibs, sorry, but it could have been R&D.
No. Hey, this isn't the half walk. We're fine.
Something that could be considered for the thing is maybe some homebrews or some third party rules or something like that to make the skill system more robust or more interesting and stuff like that. The sad thing, the thing that I'm worried about is 5th edition is a very much combat is the main reason. It's the bread and butter of the game, of the role-playing game that exists. And if we're kind of going, not so much fighting this time, the worries is that we kind of we lose out on some of the mechanical enjoyment to be found in the thing.
Do you have any suggestions? I've played multiple different games. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. They're all different. I don't know.
So a big one would be a big one, which is a really simple thing, and it's actually I think it's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. It's just it's called the Degrees of Success rules, which is the DC the difficulty class of whatever we are doing is X, but we can fail by 2. We can fail, right? But then we have different degrees of failure. So it'd be fail by 2, fail by 5, fail by 10. And then we have the same levels of improvement for success. Succeed by 2, succeed by 10, succeed by 5, or whatever it would be. And it's just to do with how great or badly things have kind of gone.
I think we've done similar things to how long it takes us. If we do well, it goes faster. It seems like a similar.
Yeah. It's the basis of that. A basis of that is there. Another one is another one which is kind of a thing is creating basically social skill challenges. I don't know if it would really be to everyone's liking, but it's kind of that idea of I don't know, somebody wants to con us out of somebody doesn't want to pay or something like that, and we've got to basically backslide our way into getting paid, kind of thing. Or somebody is this one kind of comes from a political base, so maybe it's not so useful, but it's somebody is going to vote against us and completely destroy a bill that we're trying to pass, so we're all about trying to get the numbers up, kind of thing. That's from a Vampire the Masquerade game.
How would that translate to this game, though?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
These are suggestions about making the skill system more robust.
Okay.
I'll do some reading. I will say though, there are going to be fights, so I wouldn't for anybody just decide, I'm just not gonna invest in that at all. I'm just gonna, so like,
Stay well-rounded.
stay at least like you could throw down if you had to, because
repeat what
you're going to cross you're about to cross a desert that is known for its orc tribes. So like, don't just decide, or it's lizard folk tribes,
in that case, sorry.
No, go ahead.
In that case, since I get an extra language from Outlander, and I wasn't sure what the fuck to pick, but now I know it's gonna be orc.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Yeah. So
Look into that.
Yeah. So just that you're going to. So you're not going to just go, well, I don't care. I'll just like hang out. I don't care if we're overrun by a tribe of orcs. What difference does it make? Like, no, you're gonna do something, right? So you're going to have at least that in your back pocket, even if that isn't the main focus of this campaign.
Not a dungeon crawl.
It is not. Clearly, it is not. And I think also I will at least throw out, that very recently a drow has come into your party. It's only been, he's been there the least of anybody, and I think maybe 3 months. Yeah, just a few months. He's very regal in his bearing. He is clearly, he does the whole psychic fortune teller thing, but it's such a put on with him. That I know about. He doesn't like to get his hand dirty. He has social graces that he appears to consider important. And that's kind of all you know about him so far.
Yeah. So more on that later.
Yeah. Oof. All right. Is there anything else that people want to talk about or have questions?
Here's a question. Because in the Corruption Life runes, we've kind of gotten used to like all the countries being like, I know, mainly 1 or 2 races. What is the actual, like, what is the racial species is probably a better word, composition of like the countries here? Just what do we have in terms
Taluna, it's just sort of all over the place.
Okay.
It isn't a 1 or 2 country thing. It's like Taluna, and also the Sakfun Islands is its own separate thing. You probably have been aware of the country of Onkili, even though you haven't been there, most likely, unless you're really into ocean voyages for some reason. But yeah, there's a mix of races, and you have no idea. Well, unless you ask Vianney. Vianney might be able to tell you about the races of the people who have come to Lazola, but
it's just to get an idea, like it might it could have been the case of like, oh, it's like mostly human and halflings or something like that. All right, cool.
Oh, there's humans, there's halflings, there's a few dwarves, there's some elves. It's like it's all over the place because I don't know.
Cool. Just out of curiosity.
A question that I would have that's on the same kind of bent is, are they ancestrally like segregated? Is there like elven home where all the elves live and everyone else is kind of like an immigrant out there, or is everything kind of like is there Helm's Deep here? Is Helm's Deep around? No. But also, like, are they maybe urbanized where they're all kind of like, they're all living together, they're all mixed together, that kind of thing?
There are places which are more urbanized. Now Hoot, Opazal, which is the capital, all very urbanized. Allfish is almost entirely human.
Okay.
If you were to go down to Kisrali, that is mostly elves. So it has like a mix. There are some places where they just seem to have, whether that was from their history or just how they preferred to live, that's how they do it. But there are also very mixed places. It's not, and it's never like, there's no place where you would walk into, even if you work with the circus. As a member of the circus, people expect you to be a bunch of fucking weirdos, right? But but even if you weren't, and you were an elf walking into Allfish or a dwarf walking into Kisrali, you wouldn't feel scared or nervous about it. It wouldn't be like you'd be some total outsider.
Okay. Fair enough.
Any more for any more? So, if that's the case, when was the official launch? Do we think? Did we say something in July?
Yeah, we were at least, I think, hoping for July, and I think depending on how quickly you guys wrap up the other campaign and whether or not people, there will be a week in July that I'm missing, so we may not be able to get it done because I do have a vacation coming up.
That's fair.
I think it's the same weekend that I'm missing, if I remember.
Oh, that's perfect.
Is it the 10th?
The 16th, 17th?
Okay.
Oh,
so,
no, it's not. It's the 10th for me.
Yours is the 10th.
Oh, so we have 2 weeks. Oh,
Yeah, we have 2 weekends.
Oh, hey, one shot. I'm going to have to run a one shot now.
There you go. Yeah, because the following weekend, my wife and I think are going to be out.
Okay, so we're looking at the 24th.
At
Realistically?
That might be a little too soon because that would leave us with like 1 week to finish up.
yeah.
Like Rune.
Well, we've got what? Well, I don't know because we've got oh gosh, yeah, it's later in the month than I thought.
Yeah, no,
Next
like
week
that would
is
leave
July.
us literally
Oh,
1
shit.
weekend.
We might be into August before we can actually begin the campaign because, like, I don't think we're gonna like defeat the corruption in one session. Seems a little.
Yeah, so we'll have the 3rd off, the 10th, 17th, and the 24th. So maybe the 31st or the 7th.
Oh, we'll have to see.
Yeah. Well,
But I don't
keep
think
guys,
like
people keep
I mean,
people updated in Discord.
yeah from
Yes,
like,
yes, we'll keep everybody updated. And I'm sorry that we can't be like more exact right now. So
I mean, I'm pretty sure we will have a fairly good. I'm gonna guess you're gonna have a fairly good idea after the next session. Because like that's the point where we're gonna go to start to fight the corruption, and I'm assuming. I mean, I don't know what else we would do.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's going to be kind of up to your group what you end up doing or how long it takes you, or.
But but I don't think it's gonna be that many weeks.
Yeah.
There's not that many sessions left.
Kind of just make a note of the 31st and the 7th, and then we'll narrow it down as we get closer to the end of our campaign. So, but now, see, it won't be so bad to end the other campaign because I have this to look forward to already.
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
It's a good crossover. Emotionally, I needed this.
Now we just need to figure out when we're gonna do the battle royale between those 4 characters.
We will. I'm sure there will be an opportunity. It's
Christmas special. Yeah. Christmas special.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I know.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, next week we're back with one of the closing episodes of The Corruption of Lyrune. But we have planted the seeds now for the next adventure. So,
I'm looking forward to this.
It sounds Sauvage. Yeah, so anyone else have anything to say before I turn it off?
Nope.
Okay.
Thanks for everybody being willing to spend several hours working through session 0 with me.
Well, it's fine.
Yeah, it's great. I'm looking forward to it. It gets me all excited and stuff.
And
Yeah.
now the new people get to say their one new person gets to say the ending phrase.
The catchphrase, yeah. So
Yeah.
all that's left to be said is goodbye from me and goodbye from the new party. Say goodbye, new party.
Goodbye,
Bye,
new
new
party.
party.
Bye, new party.
They did the bit. Okay.